What's going on, freakazoids? All right. Yeah, send me the link to that one, or send me the information, Lisa, to that person. I want to see it. Awesome. All right, well, we got a couple different things, actually 3 different ones to talk about, and then we'll after we get done with these first 2, then we'll switch over to the Nancy Guthrie. All right. And if you just can't handle going over another case for a little bit, I'm sorry. But that's your problem, not mine. There's other cases matter too. All right, let's see. So we got. I just sort of stumbled across this one of somebody named Kayla Huff, and it's pretty crazy. I actually was able to go. I got onto the. I think it's in Missouri. Went to their called them up, the sheriff's department, or maybe it was the county clerk or whatever, and she said, "Oh yeah, here's how you get it." And there was a little bit of struggle there, but I got the probable cause documents as well. So this girl right here, she's 16. She was abducted and she was missing for a few days, and then they found her body out in a reserve somewhere. And it sucks because it sounds like she was a really cool kid. So I figured we could take a look at it really quick. Anybody interested? Jeez. Back to that again, huh? All right, so we'll just go back in time a little bit here. So like it's in a really small area, a small town. Like it's in Missouri, and this is the area here. Now, they've arrested 4 people, and I've found where each one of them lived as well. And I looked them all up. Spent a few hours trying to get all the information. So hundreds of volunteers, law enforcement, and service members helped Friday in the search for 16-year-old Kayla Huff, who has been missing since May 6th. People searched on foot and horseback, and local law enforcement used drones to try and locate Huff. Huff's last reported sighting was around 10:20 a.m. the morning of May 6th, Randolph County Sheriff Andy Boggs said. The Huff family said Kayla was not home and her car was abandoned on Roland Street. Let's see where that is. Assembly of God. I hadn't seen that yet. What would, I don't see it. Assembly of God. Assembly of God in in Moberly. This is Moberly. This says First Assembly of God. I'm pretty sure that's probably it, but then there's another one right here. Highway 24, and yeah, it's hard to say which one that would be. I think it's probably this one, though. Although it's the way they described it, maybe not. In front of the Assembly of God Church. And by the way, you guys, this is another show, so if you guys can please help support the channel. We're currently at 0.00000 all the way across the board, on top of yesterday where we were way short of reaching the goal. So let's see if we can try to reach the goal tonight, you guys. The Huff family said Kayla was not home and her car was abandoned on Rollins Street. Okay, well, where's that? I guess we need to type that in. Rollins Street, Moberly. Okay, so that's Rollins Street. So we'll just put a pin there just as a placeholder. And then Assembly of God Church. Okay, well, I guess if that continued around, I think it's this one. I think it's like if you just look at this street and it continues on. Rollins Street, Rollins Street, Rollins, and then this one. So it's got to be, it was parked in this parking lot. Vehicle parked here. Boggs said investigators received information from the public that Huff may be in the Rudolph Bennett Conservation Area. The area covers about 5.5 square miles near the junction of Boone and Howard and Randolph counties, according to the Missouri Department of Conservation. So that is over here. This is the conservation area. And I think it might continue into there. Not really sure. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. But the part that sucks is like if you talk about something else for a few minutes, you get 80 people watching. Because everybody's just too antsy about the same thing over and over and over. It's like, come on. There's other cases. This is interesting. Boggs said investigators received information from the public that Huff may be in the Rudolph Bennett Conservation Area. The area covers about 5.5 square miles. I'm not sure why they have her. That looks weird. Map of the search area, which is between Higbee, Sturgeon, and Clark. West of 63. Okay, let's see. Maybe I can... Where's Clark? Or Sturgeon? It should just be right over here. Okay, there's Sturgeon. Alright. And then... the way it worked, it came down like this. And then I guess the search area is just kind of like right in here. Let me use a different map. Hold on. I'm just kind of looking at the map, and it's like straight across from there. The map that they're using is more green, so I gotta find something that looks like the one that they're using. Okay. And then, yeah, there's Higbee. So it's somewhere like this area right in, basically right where I have the pin is in the middle of where they were looking. So I guess that was a pretty good guess. But hey guys, if you can please help support the channel, we're just at we're at 1/60th of the nightly goal. So if you have the ability, that would be great. Instead of having me mention it, 9 times. I mean, it's just, man, one of these shows would be great. Okay, and it said, Boggs said search crews were focusing on specific areas within the conservation area, including around the lake and wooded. I guess there's a lake in there. Let's see. Oh, right there. Okay. That's in another county then. Now, the disappearance of Kayla Huff is under investigation as foul play could be involved. So that was, this one article was from the 8th. And then on the 9th, a 17-year-old arrested in connection to the disappearance of missing teenage Kayla Huff. A 17-year-old juvenile, I think this person's who spilled all the beans here, was arrested in connection to the disappearance of 16-year-old Kayla Huff, according to a news release from Randolph County Sheriff Andy Boggs. Boggs said Kayla is still missing and search efforts are ongoing as of Saturday afternoon. Let's see. Volunteers and law enforcement are in the Rudolph Bennett Conservation Area Saturday searching for Kayla. Boggs said any information on Kayla's whereabouts or details surrounding her disappearance should be directed to the Randolph County Sheriff. The Huff family said Kayla was not home and her car was abandoned on Roland Street in front of the Assembly of God Church. All right, then not a lot of stuff going on in the middle there, but and they actually found her body. So, and then I guess that's what this one is right here.
Sweetest girl I know. She genuinely lit up the room. When she walked in, the room just got lighter.
The 16-year-old girl reported missing in Randolph County has been found dead, and now 4 people are charged in the case. A Randolph County resident discovered Kayla Huff's body last night in a wooded area in the Rudolph Bennett Conservation Area. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. I'm Taylor Freeman. Hundreds of people have searched this area since she was reported missing last week. But tonight we have live team coverage. We begin with KMUH Casey Bennett, who was in court for the arraignment today. He joins us live from the Randolph County Courthouse.
4 suspects are charged in connection to the disappearance of 16-year-old Kayla Huff.
It's just so weird seeing like Elena Mason, Christopher Hall, these people. Like what? I don't even know. I know that one of them had multiple drug charges. So I'm just trying to figure out, did she see something or, court documents allege that Elena Mason and another individual kidnapped a person in Randolph County. Why don't we just take a look at let's just look at the these probable cause documents. No, that's not the one I was looking for. Just one. A lot of stuff redacted from it, but I think you can still probably make out. I'm not sure what this writing behind it is or anything. Let's see. On May 6, 2026, the parents of Kayla, I would say, reported her as a missing person to the Randolph County Sheriff. Through the course of the investigation, investigators determined that Kayla was kidnapped by, and then named maybe some other, Elena Mason. So these must be juveniles that they're mentioning. Investigators learned that Mason told multiple individuals to include, and then there's a blank, and it says that she and somebody else had taken, and then it says it looks like it taken Kayla and then put her in the trunk of a vehicle and then took her to Randolph Bennett Conservation Area and assaulted her with a blunt object and shot her. This person admitted to investigators that he did provide Mason with a firearm, and she did tell him that she and this other person kidnapped and shot her. I mean, Jesus, what a nightmare. Thanks, Jim Lawn. Jim Lawn said, "Hi, freaks. My nose is stuffed worse than my girlfriend's suitcase on a 2-day trip." See, that was a good one. I like that one. And then Alley Cake, and then Chris Stew. In a non-custodial interview, an individual advised Lieutenant West that he did visit Kayla on May 6, 2026, starting at 8 a.m. This person advised they did ride in, maybe it's Kayla's vehicle, and it did break down on Route EE near the West Outer Road. So let's see. What is Route EE? Route EE. Way over there? That doesn't make sense. And it said near West Outer Road. Let's see where that is. Okay, there's West Outer Road. And I guess that must go like this. And then, let's see, Route EE. Yeah, I don't know. There's way down there. I mean, is that actually this? This little road right here? That says J. No, it's this one. EE, and then does it continue? Yeah, there it goes around like this. Does it go all the way up into EE? And then it just stops. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I mean, maybe there's another route EE up here. And that sort of makes sense that it was in that area that we just mentioned. Because that's kind of near the church where her vehicle was spotted. Or found, actually. Alright, anyways, go back to that. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. Video surveillance captures the east side of Mason's residence. Okay, let's go back up here. It did break down on Route EE. Maybe EE stands for like a bigger name, you think? Anybody know? West Outer Road. Ah, Jesus, man. Unreal. Yes, that's... Okay, the highway is West Outer Road. And then it would come... Oh, it looks like... Oh, yeah. Okay, there you go. There's West Outer Road right here. Right by the church. So he's probably trying to make it seem like... I wonder if there's a road that has like EE as its initials. There's an E McKinsey Street here. But yeah, so car broke down somewhere on this near this road. All right, video surveillance. It should be noted that Kayla's vehicle was located here, inoperable, on May 6, 2026. So it did break down. Video surveillance captures Kayla and this other person walking together on May 6, 2026 which is the last time Kayla can be accounted for, approximately at 10:18 a.m. So they're walking together. Video surveillance captures the east side of Mason's residence. Okay, so Mason, I think I have his location. Elena, or her, or, well, there's actually two of them, Julian Mason. And so I wonder if that's who, well, let's see, that wouldn't make sense. How about Elena Leanne Mason? Yeah, so she lives way over here. And so I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. How about, and the other Mason lives way over here in this town. Maybe they say that in the next sentence that I usually skip by. Hey, thanks, Chicken Wing. Now, this video revealed at approximately 10:34 hours a white Chevrolet Impala. Okay, captured east side of Mason's residence at, and they don't let us see it. This video revealed at approximately 10:34 hours a white Chevrolet Impala, identified by tires and spotlight, arrives at the residence. I observed an individual exit the driver's seat, maybe Kayla, I guess, seat of the vehicle, no, probably not, and is at the residence until 10:57. The video surveillance captures the east side of Mason's residence. This video revealed that approximately 10:34, a white Chevrolet Impala identified by tires arrives at the residence. I observed this person exit the driver's seat of the vehicle and is at the residence until 10:57 hours. Then somebody gets in the driver's seat of the vehicle. A female matching the description of Mason gets in the passenger seat, and they drive south from the residence. Video surveillance reveals they return driving the Impala at approximately 12:16. Yeah, I wish there was names on these. But Mason's the girl. If that's true, then she lives over here in this house. Like one of these, I guess I forgot to put it right next to the one, but yeah, one of these homes right here. And so I later spoke with, let's see if they're short names. What do we got here? That name's probably not available. Who states Mason called him at approximately 12:25 hours on May 6, 2026. He stated Mason told, stated Mason told him she needed help because her and another individual had kidnapped an individual, taken them to Rudolph Bennett conservation area, assaulted them, then shot and killed them, and them is one person. Stated at the time he did not think anything of it. But later, when Kayla's disappearance was public, he believed what the lady told him was true. You know, what Mason told him was true. Or whoever that other individual was. The Rudolph Bennett Conservation Area is a densely wooded area. When Mason was taken into custody on May 7, 2026, she had continued to develop a rash, which appeared to be poison ivy. Oh boy. Mason told jail staff this was from being in the woods. Hey, thanks Chicken Wing and Wild Bill Wassman. A known friend of Mason's advised on May 5th, 2026, he, Mason, and others drove on something and described arriving at a residence believed to be where You know, some kind of a word with tated at the end. By where tated prior to this. Mason got motor oil out of an acquaintance truck. Stated when they arrived at the residence, Mason put motor oil in the fuel tank. So that maybe that's disabled her vehicle, of Kayla's red vehicle maybe. A search warrant was executed on Mason's known phone number to Verizon Wireless. Verizon Wireless confirmed Mason was the account holder. Now, so that's May 5th, the day before her car. So let's read that again, knowing that. So Kayla had her vehicle. Her vehicle, was it red? I can't remember now. On May 6th, starting at approximately 8 in the morning, advised he did ride in Kayla's vehicle and it did break down on Route EE near West Outer Road. It should be noted, Kayla's vehicle was located here inoperable on May 6th. Video surveillance captures Kayla and this other person walking together on May 6, 2026. It is the last time Kayla can be accounted for at approximately 10:18. And then video surveillance captures the east side of Mason's residence. This video revealed at approximately 10:34, a white Chevrolet Impala identified by tires is spotted. But let's just go down here now. And then it says, a known friend of Mason's advised that on May 5th, the day before, so this is the day before, somebody else, and Mason and others drove on, I'm not sure when you say on and then it's blank. Drove on, you know, why would that be blank? And described arriving at a residence believed to be where, let's see, probably something like where Kayla, I don't know, something, what do you think the word with the tated at the end? Prior to this, Mason got motor oil out of an acquaintance truck. And they stated that when they arrived at the residence, Mason put motor oil in the fuel tank of Kayla's red vehicle. I bet you that's what and that's why it broke down. Hey, what do we got here? Sandy Shirley, I can't see the chat right now, but if we get $10 in gifted memberships or PayPal, I'll give 10. All right. Very cool. Thank you. Then we got Chicken Wing and Karen. Yeah, that's weird. A search warrant was executed on Mason's known phone number to Verizon. Verizon Wireless confirmed Mason was the account holder. And then on May 5th, 2026, at approximately 3 a.m., I observed Mason's phone was near. Also corroborated this occurred. Man, I wish, why can't you tell us what that is? Based upon what I have learned in this investigation, the disappearance of Kayla is indicative of foul play. It's Kayla Huff, so it's really short, you know, like only 9 letters total. This is described as uncommon behavior that has not been seen or heard. Let's see. Kayla has not been seen or heard from in 6 days. This is described as uncommon behavior for her. Further, all of Kayla's personal belongings were left in her residence, which again is uncommon behavior. Probable cause statement is herein stated verbatim. All right, so there's that one, and I wonder if they're a little different for each one of them, because they all have different case numbers, so just kind of curious. Let me see what the film. This one here is for Christopher Huff. Okay, let me get rid of that. Now here's his probable cause. Hey, thanks, Michelle H. We're at 1/6 now. On May 6, 2026, the parents of reported a missing person. Okay, let's see where it gets different down here. So Kayla's vehicle was located inoperable on Route EE near West Outer Road. Advised investigators he and, so that part's the same. And then it says, what is it, Lieutenant or LTN West, or what is that? Something Northwest 568 had conducted several non-custodial interviews with Christopher Hull in reference to this investigation. Through these interviews, Hull advised he was participating in aiding in something in Kayla's, these other people's actions to kidnap Kayla, all right? Or assisted in discarding evidence or detouring law enforcement. It should be noted, each time Hull was interviewed was after I would receive a tip of his involvement, and when confronted, would provide further information that he had lied or admitted in prior interviews. So he had to keep being told, hey, we got you doing this. Okay. And then he continues down the road. Hull advised on May 5th, 2026, he, somebody else, and another drove on, what does that mean? Drove on and then blank. On something road or something? And described arriving at a residence, maybe it's like a highway, like drove on I-27, whatever, and described arriving at a residence believed to be where, okay, right here it says, CH stated prior to this, whoever CH is, somebody got motor oil out of the acquaintance truck. CH stated that when they arrived, I bet you I could, if I took this document and then replaced the known missing words, we'd have a much clearer one on the last one. Because I think the tated was CH stated, right? But it just wasn't in that other article. That prior to this, they got motor oil out of the acquaintance's truck. CH stated that when they arrived at the residence, Kayla, or not Kayla, but somebody put motor oil in the fuel tank of, what is her name? Yeah, it's like there's an S there. That's probably so it's probably Kayla Huff's red vehicle. A search warrant was executed, and on a known phone number to Verizon. Verizon Wireless confirmed he was the account holder. On May 5th, 2026, at approximately 3 a.m., I observed the phone was near, also corroborated this, that it occurred. Hull further advised on May 8, 2026, he and somebody else and others discarded an expandable baton, which he knew was used to assault. That's the one that was used to beat Kayla. Hull stated, after law enforcement executed a search warrant at the residence, he located the expandable baton still there. At this time, no one had advised law enforcement a weapon like this was used in the commission of the crime. Hull stated that somebody wanted to discard the baton to hinder the prosecution of another individual. Hull, knowing this, agreed to drive. It says something, drive somebody somewhere to, and then there's nothing there. HA showed law enforcement where the baton was left. And then this person corroborated Hull's admission. All right. So they used the baton to beat her. I'm just saying there is different stuff in these. Now this is the one for Hunter Ames. On May 6, 2026, the parents, yeah, so we got that. Vehicle was located, we got that. Lieutenant N. West. See how like each document doesn't redact certain things, but so you could almost replace it. Because if we go back, I mean, even that last document had, like I know right after this there was redaction. Through these interviews, Ames advised he participated in aiding in the actions to kidnap Kayla or assisted in discarding evidence or detouring law enforcement. It should be noted each time Ames was interviewed was after I would receive a tip of his involvement, and when confronted, would provide further information that he had lied or omitted in prior interviews. Ames advised on May 5th, 2026, he and others drove to where, maybe where Kayla lived. Ames stated prior to this, oh, okay, there you go, that makes sense. I bet it's where Kayla's car is or where Kayla lives. Ames stated prior to this, they got motor oil out of the bed of the acquaintance truck. Ames stated when they arrived at the residence, they put motor oil in the fuel tank of Kayla's red vehicle. A search warrant was executed on somebody's known phone number to Verizon. Verizon Wireless confirmed he was the account holder. Let's see, it's set down here. Ames stated in the late morning hours of May 6th, they woke him up asking for his pistol. This is new stuff. Ames stated he was at the residence, as well as stated somebody was at the residence as well as another person, and he told Ames that they had someone in the trunk of somebody's white Chevrolet Impala. Ames stated that this person told him she needed his pistol to take care of it. Ames stated he allowed her to take his pistol, and she and this other person left in his Chevrolet Impala. Ames stated in the afternoon time, so and so returned. Ames stated another person told him they had took the individual to Rudolph Bennett Drugger from the trunk of the vehicle, assaulted the person, which is Kayla, and then shot and killed them. Ames stated he confronted this person, confirmed this person was talking about shooting Kayla. Video surveillance that captures the east side of, I don't know what that is, an Ames residence. So let's see. Ames actually lives, I think, like right. Christopher Hull lives right there. I don't know where she lives. And actually, Ames is another. They weren't in Ben Verified. So I don't know. They were only 19, so they're not in there. Thanks, Chicken Wing and Karen. We're at 25% now. All right. Only 1/4. Better than 1/5. Ames further advised on May 8th, 2026, he and others discarded an expandable baton which he knew was used to assault. At this time, no one had advised law enforcement. Okay, we got that. Law enforcement where the baton was left. Okay, so. Jeez. What the hell do you think the reason is behind this? She's only 16, and these people are... All right, here's the last one. This one is from Julian Mason. So the first part is the same. 2026, 11:30 p.m. 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 2026, 11:30 p was located, inoperable. That's the same. This part's the same. Through these interviews, they CH advised he participated in aiding, probably. He advised on May 5th, he and Julian Mason drove on route EE and described arriving at the residence believed to be where Kayla resides. He stated prior to this, they had gotten motor oil out of an acquaintance truck. They stated when they arrived at the residence, a person put motor oil in the fuel tank of Kayla's vehicle, and then I don't know what all this blank stuff is, but Verizon Wireless confirmed he was the account holder. Further advised on May 8, 2026, he and another person, Mason, and went to Brunswick area to discard an expandable baton, which he knew was used to assault Kayla Huff, or assault Kayla. And then somebody stated after law enforcement executed a search warrant at the residence, they located the expandable baton still there. At this time, no one had advised law enforcement a weapon like this was used in the commission of the crime. All right. Man, that's just sick. Let me see. So I got these reports off of these guys. Christopher Hall. Let's see, the court records for him. I'll tell you what his are. Or Christopher Hull. Okay, he has charges of, a lot of them are driving, operating a vehicle, owner operated, that's something different, possession of marijuana, cannabinoid, possession of less than 10 grams, exceed posted speed, a lot of speeding stuff for that guy, and some drug charges. Let's see what I think it might be Julian Mason. That might be the one that I was looking for. So hold on. All right, let's see. We are at, I don't know, 30-something% of the goal. All right, court records right here. There's 30 of them on one of these guys. Okay, here's the main one. Look at this guy. Possession of a controlled substance, probable assault 4th degree, harassment 1st degree. Some of these are the same case. Burglary in the 1st degree, felony warrant parole violation, tampering 1st degree. Then it says with motor vehicle, airplane, motorboat. He's used to tampering. He's probably one that broke into her gas tank. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Stealing, value less than 150. Burglary 2nd degree. Stealing, burglary 2nd degree. Stealing, value less than, I mean, these are not too long ago either. Burglary 2nd degree, stealing, tampering, burglary, stealing, burglary, petite theft, felony warrant, tampering, parole violation. I mean, it just goes on and on. This guy is, he's bad news there. Hey, thanks, South Texas guy. All right, let's see. Hold on. Yeah, see, these are them right here. There's two of them. Christopher Hull. He's not Julian Mason's the. I guess that's him right there. That's Julian Mason, and this is Dweeb Johnson. That's actually Hunter Ames over there. Okay. Well, here's another picture right there. These are all four of them. Elena Mason, Julian Mason, probably related somehow. Hunter Ames, and Christopher Hull. Although Mason's kind of common name. Yeah, so it looks like Elena Mason lives over here. Rudolph Bennett Conservation is where her body was found. Julian Mason, the person with all those charges, he lives in this town right there. And then I was able to find Christopher Hull. He lived right in this area, in this house. So here's Christopher Hull's house, one of them. Really nice, well-kept yard there. And then we've got Christopher Allen. We just did that one. Then, let's see, Elena Leanne Mason. She lived right here. We already looked at that earlier. And then... and Julian Mason way over here in this other town. Right there in that house. Has the cars in the back. Makes you wonder about that. You know? Look at this. Who puts their cars back like that? Unless you're trying to hide a car from people driving by and going, hey, isn't that the one that was listed in the burglary yesterday? I mean, that's just crazy to me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just seems odd. You know, you drive it around, then you literally, instead of putting it right there, right? Instead of parking your car right there, you drive it around back so that your vehicle isn't visible. Don't you think that's weird? I mean, who knows? Maybe the house is always owned by weirdos. Let me see what a more recent one looks like. Yeah, this one's from, well, that one's from 2014. And then this one is more, it's 20, man, they really didn't, they haven't, 8 years to cover the same spot again. Hey, thanks for the 3 cents there, Daphne. Very kind of you. Let's see, we've got the, we got South Texas guy. All right, thank you. Well, I don't know if there's much more to go over on this. Those probable cause documents kind of explain it all. That it was all planned. I mean, absolutely first degree, premeditated. They put oil in her vehicle so that it would break down. And then they probably used that as a ruse to get her to go somewhere else. And then abducted her, used a baton to beat her, and then ended up shooting her at the end and leaving her in the... let's see, what's the name of that place? The Rudolph Bennett Conservation Area. And there's no anything. I mean, look at that. No street view, no 360 degree. I guess you can go down here. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, so basically it looks like this out here. Look at that little pond that you were just looking at. That's just right, like right there, just mud. All right. Well, anyways, that's what it looks like out there. It just sounds like, I mean, everybody seemed to say that she was a really nice person. Now, let's see again what they're saying.
Sweetest girl I know. She genuinely lit up the room. When she walked in, the room just got lighter.
The 16-year-old girl reported missing in Randolph County has been found dead, and now 4 people are charged in the case. A Randolph County resident discovered Kayla Huff's body last night in a wooded area in the Rudolph Bennett Conservation Area. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. I'm Taylor Freeman. Hundreds of people have searched this area since she was reported missing last week. But tonight we have live team coverage. We begin with KMU8's Casey Bennett, who was in court for the arraignment today. He joins us live from the Randolph County Courthouse now. Casey.
Taylor, family and friends of Kayla Huff filled the courtroom today. Also filling the courtroom just a few hours ago, tears and hugs. Those mourning, searching for.
It's so funny when you see these small town reporters. They still have their shows, the local, but man, they're just so green, when they're doing their reporting. It's hilarious.
Justice. 4 suspects are charged in connection to the disappearance of 16-year-old Kayla Huff. Court documents allege Elena Mason and an unnamed suspect kidnapped someone in Randolph County the same day Huff went missing. Documents go on to say, after getting a pistol from Hunter Ames, Mason and the unnamed suspect took the victim to Rudolph Bennett Conservation Area and killed them. The Randolph County prosecutor says her office is attempting to piece it all together.
We are going to have to look at what the evidence reveals, if we can learn anything about cause of death, manner, time, anything that may put some of those pieces together to meet the elements of that.
The sheriff says the investigation could bring changes to the penalties.
Once my investigators are finished with, the autopsy and different things today, then we will be asking to upgrade charges.
A sentiment that is shared by the prosecuting office.
We will regroup with the evidence
I think you
that's
should get the
learned from
death
that,
penalty.
and
That's just absolutely
sit down
horrendous.
and determine what, if any, additional charges might be appropriate.
The maximum is appropriate.
As it stands right now, Elena Mason, Christopher Hull.
I would say the ones that planned it, and it was like their idea, they should get the maximum. Even if somebody else pulled the trigger, and they were just sort of brought into it, I would go after the conspiratorial people. Those are the ones with the malice heart, really horrendous people. A lot of times, like the other ones that actually, let's say you hire a hitman and they shoot somebody. I don't put as much problem with the. I don't have as big a problem with those people. Wow, hey, thanks. Bill, let's see. Believe, I don't know how to say that one. Believe lottery. Yeah, thank you. I think what is that worth? About $5? 1,000 joules. Let's see. Yeah, but don't you guys agree with that? Like, if you have somebody that plots and plans the whole thing, hires a hitman, the hitman's really just a tool, a weapon that the original person used. Now, I think you should be able to make a deal with the hitman, and I would give them, like, a chance, like 25 to something. But then, or, maybe if there's a death penalty option, you take that off the table and you go after the ringleader. That's the thing, is those are the scary people. I mean, hitmen are they're hitmen, but they're hired by other people that are worse because they're the ones that sort of connive behind the scenes to do it. And these people are, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I don't know what they are. I think there's more. The person who plotted it out is the more evil person. It sounds kind of odd because they might not have pulled the trigger, but the person who pulled the trigger was just their weapon from afar, basically. Okay, the boyfriend, right? I asked you if you on Facebook if you'd seen anything. Yeah, they didn't mention the name. They just said that they were walking together. Do you think she was pregnant? Or was it something to do with drugs? I don't know what this is about. This one's really weird. It sounds like she was a really good person. And so the boyfriend must have something to do with it. Because he's the one, they were together, and then the car breaks down, and then I don't think he's, I think he was detained, but he isn't one of the people arrested. But hey guys, if you could please help support the channel tonight, that'd be great. We're still just kind of, we're less than a third. We're like, still like 28% of reaching the goal tonight. So if you guys have the ability, that would be awesome. We could use a challenge or two, you guys. Does anybody out there have the ability to do one of those? That'd be awesome. All right, well anyways, I'm going to move on to a different case now. Maybe we'll get some updates and try to put more pieces of the puzzle together in the coming days on that one. But definitely could use, somebody could do a challenge that would go a long ways to getting us in the right direction here. We're still just way behind. So remember the case in Seattle, at the university, like off-campus housing, where there was a transgender person that was stabbed to death? So we have some of this information. So this turns out to be the guy right here. This is the guy that was in the apartment complex. And he was going around. Let's see if I can find that. There it is. Right there. All the way over here. Yeah, so it was in this apartment complex right inside of here. I think it was even right underneath there in a laundry room. And an individual was killed. We have the person's name now, but I'm just going to show you this stuff here.
New images released today from Seattle police showing who they believe is the suspect in the murder of a 19-year-old UW student. Tonight from the UW campus.
They're hoping a face for that suspect could help members of the public try to identify that murder suspect. And all of this comes as students here on the UW campus are still...
Yeah, so it says the following: Seattle police identified a suspect in the May 10th murder of University of Washington student on Wednesday, and asked the public to look closely at the photos and see if anyone can help police capture the person. The following day, Seattle police said a suspect turned himself into the Bellevue police, then was transferred to the custody Seattle Police Department homicide detective. The suspect was described as a light-skinned black man, approximately 5'7", described as thin build, wearing a long-sleeve dark blue full-zip shirt with a light triangle-style emblem inside, a circle on the left front, etc. So that's who they were looking for. I mean, that's like, of course, and then he turned himself in later, but of course you would. Look at this guy. I mean, there's somebody knows who this is, right? Let's see. The suspect is tied to the killing of a University of Washington student. The individual just committed a homicide. They should be considered armed and dangerous. Seattle Police Department Detective Eric Munoz said, "If we can provide more information to the public, we will. We don't believe at this point anyone else is at risk." According to police, officers were dispatched to a report of a stabbing at the Northheim Court Apartments in 5000 block of 25th Avenue. Police found a 19-year-old woman dead in a laundry room. It's actually a guy that's claiming to be a woman, right? In Building 7. Officers and firefighters tried to revive him or her, whatever you want to call it. But she was pronounced dead. The victim is believed to be a UW student and transgender woman. All right, so that means it's a biological male who was the victim. The man in the photos is wearing darker rimmed eyeglasses, has short black hair, and a goatee with ingrown scruff around the jaw. So they go through the whole thing and kind of describe him, and then I think there's another. All right, anybody going to do that challenge for me in there? We definitely need to get one of those going. One of those might get us close to 50%. Oh, that's okay, Daphne. It's just it feels a little weird when people do that. Yeah, it doesn't really say what they're worth. I guess each one is worth two of them's worth a penny. I guess that's what they say. Hello. But yeah, you guys, let's see if we can get one challenge going at least in here. No, I haven't heard of that. I've just been working on these cases. If you want to send me a, I don't even know it, Chud the Builder, never heard of it. If you want to send me a message in Facebook, then I might know about it. How is it a case, I guess? I see. Okay, anyway, Seattle police identified a suspect in the May 10th murder of a University of Washington student on Wednesday and asked the public to look closely at the photos and see if anyone can help police capture the person. Now, the following day, Seattle police said a suspect turned himself in to the Bellevue Police Department, then was transferred to the custody of Seattle Police Department homicide detectives. The suspect was described. I want to get the probable cause in this one. What a crazy. He just committed a homicide. All right, so let me move on to the next. I do have 3 of them from the 14th. One of them had a pretty good, I think this might be it here. It has this really long thing by the family. I don't really want to read that. Here's the victim right here. An image of the person's name is Juniper Blessing. They're 19 years old. I don't have any indication right now that the person was killed because they were transgender. They had been walking around before, on the day before. Anyways, this is the part that I wanted to look at right here. Court documents state surveillance video captured Lehigh and Blessing entering the laundry room shortly before the killing. So they both entered the laundry room. Now, did they go in together, or did one just kind of walk in and the other one walk in? Detectives said Lehigh appeared to remain inside the room for several minutes before later exiting alone. Another resident later discovered Blessing lying on the floor covered in blood, according to investigators. Police said detectives also found blood smears on the outside of the laundry room door. Investigators said surveillance footage showed Blessing arriving at the laundry room carrying bags over their shoulders and a jug of laundry detergent. Detectives later traced the suspect after Seattle police publicly distributed surveillance photos from the building. According to court documents, multiple people contacted detectives after the images were released, including Lehigh's brother and a former. But they must have got it wrong, though, you know. Hey, but you guys, listen. I don't, you know, it seems like every night I have to say the same thing. But we have had half of every day this month, we haven't even come close to reaching the goal. So I'm just asking you guys if you could please do some challenges or gifted memberships, whatever it is, to help support the channel so that we have a chance to reach a goal. We didn't make it last night again. We did the night before, but not last night. And we didn't the night before, and we didn't the night before, the night before, the night before. And so I'm trying to get you guys to realize that, you know, for the channel to keep existing, you know, and allows us to do all the stuff that we do, I need your guys' support. And I want you to listen to what I'm saying instead of just sort of going, yeah, and then moving on to whatever you're talking about. It's really important, okay? So if you have the ability to, that would be great. Thank you. Let's see. According to court documents, multiple people contacted detectives, including his brother. Well, he doesn't know who the hell he is. That's for sure. You know, he has no clue. Hey, look at that. We got a 10 for 10er. Okay, that one would get us somewhere, a miraculous 10 for 10er. That would get us to 66% of the goal. That's how far we're behind. I don't know what the motive is. Because he was like walking around a week, but 2 weeks before, and they tried to get police to do something. But I don't know what this guy is. You know, if somehow they had a relationship, then that would sort of make sense. But there's no really indication on that first time around that it had something to do with that. Hey, thanks, Chris Parks and Sinclair Watson. All right, how about we'll combine those two for one, and then Wild Bill Wassman makes two. And it says, during the hearing, defense attorneys argued Lehigh should instead face a second-degree murder. Oh, so that right there makes it appear that they knew each other. If it's a second-degree murder allegation, disputing whether the killing was premeditated. Okay, I guess if it wasn't premeditated, I guess how do you prove that? I mean, I guess you could prove it because he was there the week before, and he snuck into another person's house. I think he had a knife on that one, and he left it at the scene. All right, guys, we need 8 more gifted memberships up there. That would be awesome. Prosecutors argued the severity of Blessing's injuries supported the first-degree murder allegation. The defense also asked for a lower bail, arguing Lehigh was not a flight risk because he voluntarily surrendered to police and had no prior criminal history. No, he turned himself in because he was caught crystal clear on camera. That's why he did that. Thanks, Jim Long. However, the judge ruled the severity of the crime justified keeping bail at $10 million. Yeah, he's not getting out, you guys. I think it even made, I thought I heard it was $17 million. That's just some ridiculous number. Yeah. So we don't know yet what the hell this guy, what his motive was. That's why I thought it was kind of interesting. You know, and we, let's see if we can find from a couple days ago. Oh, wow. That's what it was? 40 times. Jesus. That's crazy. I guess I forgot this article. Let me throw that in. UW choir singer was stabbed 40 times all over body in laundry room. Now that sounds like a lot of rage and hate there. All right, so we're up to 4, you guys. We need 6 more of those. Yeah, 10 million, man. That's crazy. Look at that. And so this is the person that was killed. He killed them. I wonder if he thought she was a woman at some point, and then he, you know, I don't know. like they were sort of seeing each other and then he filled with rage, or is it just randomly, you know, he killed her thinking it was a girl? Yeah, right? He goes in there and he just is killing. I kind of lean to the fact that he just went in there to kill somebody. Because on the other times he snuck in to people's apartments. Now, let's see if we can find that again. Yeah, we definitely need 6 more, you guys. Let's try to do it a little earlier than later, because after that, we're still like way behind still. I mean, that's the thing. We're still, I mean, that gets us to 66%. And the Nordheim Court Apartments at 25th Avenue. Where's the article? I have it in here, where they talk about another incident. What we know about the stabbing. This one?
Seattle police at least staff those who asked who asked us to protect their unit just to let some breeze in. They found him there at around 10. Those students I talked at least stabbing. What can you tell us? Those students I talked to said they were terrified. They said on Saturday night, April 25th.
Yeah, so Saturday night, April 25th, like is 15 days prior. Okay, so that's cool. That one makes up for that little shortage on the first one. So now we just need 5 more, you guys.
They found a man halfway into their apartment. They left their window cracked open on a lower level unit just to let some breeze in. They found him there at around 10:17 that evening.
It's definitely something that was very traumatic.
This student who asked us to protect their identity says when they first heard glasses rattling below the kitchen window in their Nordheim Court apartment on April 25th, they didn't think much of it.
We did hear them and thought it was the cat and ultimately realized it wasn't.
One of the roommates ran into the kitchen and found a man halfway inside the window, the screen pulled out.
My roommate who saw him scream to get out of our house.
They say he backed out and fled while they called 911.
I came running and we all barricaded ourselves in my room at the back of the apartment.
The students say responding officers found a knife, but the man was never caught, and the case was logged as a burglary by the University of Washington Police Department.
There was also nothing done about the situation in general.
So when they heard about last night's deadly stabbing in their apartment complex, they were concerned.
It was about 10:20 p.m., almost the exact same time as the murder that happened last night.
They tell me the person they saw in their apartment closely matches the description of the suspect officers released today. The suspect in the homicide case described as a...
Yeah, but those people, a lot of people are allowed to put a lot of shitty stuff online, Zozo. You know? I don't think there's much difference from people who sit there and trash over, like just make videos about people they don't like on YouTube. I think it's the same type of person. They're just terrible people. Oh, we didn't get the other 5. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Maybe you saw the writing on the wall like I do. It's hard to get people to do it. But you guys, she gave the 10, and you guys still didn't get the other 5 that we needed. So if you guys could please help support the channel with the 5 other gifted memberships, that would be great. And that'll get us to, will be, yeah, right around 60-something%. I've seen a few transgender females that look just like females, you know, after a lot of years of doing what they do. Yeah, I mean, Candace Owens viewers a lot of them are racist people too. Ironically.
Black man about 5 foot.
Yeah, so these people saw the same person 2 weeks earlier trying to break into a different apartment. You know, now if you told me that this the victim in this case was in that same apartment, I would be really inclined to go, yeah, I think they're connected. They must have known each other. Oh, it's okay, Chris O'Connell. Oh, jeez, you didn't have to do that one. But thank you. Jeez. Man, you're always so nice. Thank you. All right, well, that's the update on that. They've arrested the person. They've identified the victim. We know what that is. Now it's the why did you do it type of thing. I have no clue in this one. It's crazy. But thank you, Chris O'Connell. Very kind. Yeah, thanks everybody else for matching that one. Jumping in there, for those who did anyways. You know, I had somebody on YouTube recently. They made another hit piece on me. You know, they took one of my live streams and they just, like, the whole time they just kept playing it over and over. Like, they'd play 2 minutes of it and wouldn't really comment on me, but they'd stop and then comment on something else, and then sometimes they'd comment about me, and then they'd comment about me again, and then later, and then they'd play a whole bunch of video again, and anytime there was something accurate and positive that I was saying, they'd never comment about it. But anytime I would say something like, hey, if you guys could help support the channel, that's when they would go, ah, look, see, there they go, look at him, look at him, look at him. And it's just like this never-ending deal. So they did get a copyright infringement sent to them, and the video was taken down, but they challenged it, claiming, what do you call it? Claiming fair use. And they really, you know, they know that they didn't do that. They, like, most of the time they would just pause and then go, oh, hey, Jim, yeah, and they'd start talking about something else. Then they'd play it again, and they played like an hour of my show on there, yeah? And then once you challenge one of those, it comes back on the creator, and you have to prove that you're filing a lawsuit. You know, it's like, I don't have time for any of that right now. I'm just still building up a file filled with all the shit, and then maybe someday, when it gets to be a certain point, then I'll do something about it. I don't have time to put out little fires here and there, etc. But it's just so unethical what these people do. You know, little cherry picking of this and cherry picking of that. And it just sucks. YouTube does not protect people. You know, it really doesn't. It sucks. They don't care at all whatsoever. What do you mean, what about satellite imagery? I got Google Earth. Yeah, 2 in the morning, you're not gonna. They don't take satellite images at 2 in the morning. Anyways, did you guys hear anything that I just said? Because again, we got no comments, nothing related to what I said. Yeah, I did just now, Sandy, but earlier when somebody matched your challenge, you hadn't sent it in. But yeah, there it is right there. And also we had a coffee from Lisa Valenzuela. Did anybody hear what I said? I just told you a story, the shit that I have to deal with every single day. My general freaks? You mean generous freaks? General freaks. Yeah, but it's dark that time of year all the way up till it's dark at 5. I mean, it's just not, it wouldn't be useful, pork chop. I'm just letting you know. But it's not a bad idea, a good thought there. It's just not really plausible. You know, we're talking, even when she went over, so let's switch over now. Now we're doing Nancy Guthrie, and Zozo, if you want to send me that I don't know. I don't even know if you can do a show on that. No, it's incredible what these people do. And they never mention, like, even when this person was trashing my channel, people would say, well, he donates money. He goes, well, I'm assuming he does. I'm sure people would have already. Well, of course they do. They've actually called the charities that I donate to, trying to get them not to, like, accept money from us. They've contacted at least 4 or 5 of the, there's people in here that are able to support my channel more than other people, okay? These people find ways to get a hold of them and try to convince them not to send money to my channel because they hate me. That's the reality of it. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And I think it's worked on some people, obviously. They're not around, and I know that they were contacted by them. These people are like, I'm not even sure what you call them. They're absolutely disgusting people who have nothing better to do. They would rather take out. I'm the only YouTube channel in this genre where, of the size and nature, of course, if you're one of these huge channels that have 16 million subscribers, you can donate money to charities and so forth. But we've given 295,000. I figured out a way. You guys are supporting the channel when I do the shows. I try to make videos and get ad revenue. Those aren't working these days. And we just try to bring in funds for the show. And then I donate a large portion of it every single month, which has led to $295,000 since January of 2020, which is $295,000 more than any of these dipshits have given on their own, because they don't do that. They just revel in the misery that they create on other people. That's what they love doing. It's sick, unbelievable. And so I don't know what to say, but it's really made me. I've become so disillusioned with YouTube and being here. It's so hard every single night to get you guys to help support the channel. And I think it has a lot to do with these people. I think it's just, I think they come in and they mark my channel in a certain way, and YouTube's algorithm doesn't. And it's just, I don't know. I still like, want to hear something weird? Like when I'm just sitting around during the day and I'm looking at cases, it's so fun for me. Like I love I spent hours getting that last case here, right? And then when I come on, I don't have the same amount of fun anymore because it's such a struggle with you guys. It's brutal. You guys make the trolls happy. Yay! Look at that. They're not supporting Gray anymore. It blows, you guys. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Because you guys remember how all these years, how incredible it's been, right? Like literally, almost $300,000. And it's just got to the point where, I don't enjoy, after 45 minutes of zero support from anybody, having to go, all right, you guys, if you could please help support the channel again. It's just not fun. I just want you guys to think, wow, look at this guy. Man, he covers different kind of cases. When he does cover the big ones, he's really accurate. He puts it all together. This is a safe place to be when you want to have the reality of a case told to you. Okay? If you want to go some bullshit place like these other people and come up with every Tom, Dick, and Harry fake theory, then go right ahead. All right? Now, I know over the years, because of the way I do the show, I have this sort of I just want to hear facts. And hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell again. Jesus. How about some of the rest of you guys? That's what I'm talking about. Look at right now. Nobody else ever, it's just so rare. It's a miracle when we reach the goal now. It's only because there are few people are doing it. But over the years, you know, there's people that have come on and they probably were well-meaning and had some nice, you know, like a thought about something. And I was probably too dismissive of their thought, you know. Like, I feel like I could easily improve in stuff like that. And I feel bad that there's probably people that showed up here and they didn't feel welcome. And, you know, even like on the moderator's side, like a lot of times when I'm sort of into it with somebody, you know, moderators and other people start jumping on the bandwagon. And that's something I don't like. Like, you guys should be the buffer. It's hard for me to completely change, but I would like it to be a better place for people to come in and just say what they want to say, and we can debate it, but do it a little bit more cordially, where we're just kind of, you know, who cares? You know, they can be wrong all day long. It doesn't matter. And they'll see the truth when it's all said and done, because we put the cases together, all right? But anyways, for all those people out there over the years that I've made feel sort of marginalized, or I hurt your feelings, and I just didn't make it a pleasant place, I apologize to you guys. All right? Now, the rest of you, I'd like it, you know, when these people come in and they make their ridiculous comments, which they will do, just go like, maybe just debate them quiet, like, just go like, well, why do you think that? And just see what they say, right? But at least they have a, you know, they can say what they're thinking. All right? So, I mean, this is just, I just think that that's just what it is, you know? All right? I mean, I know there's people like that out there. But here's the reality, too, you guys. So for all of you who felt that way, if you just come back the next day, nobody would have cared at all. Like, we literally, the next day, like I say before, it's like Thanksgiving dinner in here. We might argue one day, then the very next day, nobody cares at all. They don't go, oh, you're the one that was... Nobody even remembers that stuff. We have so much crap that we're talking about that nobody remembers that stuff. So just hang in there, even if there's a bad day. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to be absolutely perfect, but I do recognize, I do see people, like when they comment in the troll areas, they'll say, man, this one time I showed up. And they always blame me, even if it's not me being the one. But I don't want them feeling that way, any way, shape, or form, when they come here. I want people to be talking, and, you know, like I sit here and I see these moments where there's like nobody chatting. It's weird, you know. I guess I didn't see that super chat. Maybe that's good. But thanks for the money. Yeah. So there you go. Anyways, that's what I'm saying. For all of you out there that maybe felt like that at some point, I apologize. I don't really, you know, the only thing I can say is sometimes, like in here, it's really stressful a lot of times with the trolls and just everything that goes on. It makes it easier to be like that. But it is weird how, like, during the day, I'm looking into something, I'm so excited, like, oh, wow, look, I found that, I found this. And then when I come on the show, it's like, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it is good to see Zozo in here. Yeah, well, I'm not asking you. Hey, Rusty, here's the thing. What I tell everybody in here, if you don't have the money to support my channel, don't do it. And we also don't need your explanation why. It seems like people do that almost to throw it into the chat so it's part of the conversation. And then people can say, oh, man, because nobody says, wow, you know, hey, Rusty, you didn't send, you know, nobody does that. All right, so I'm going to have to remove that one. Right? It's just, that's troll food right there. Those kind of comments like that. Right. These are the trolls coming in. Yeah. Here we go. Got to get rid of those. Darn it. Would have liked to have them say those things, but Yeah, they always come in and bandwagon like that and try to do the whole, yeah, Gray, I can't. I'm just on Social Security, but when I get my next check, I'll say, no, I don't want you to. If you aren't, like, if you're struggling that much, please keep it for yourself, all right? I'm just looking for people to help support my channel when we do our shows, all right? That's it. And if you can't do it, you can't. It's different times now, too, you know? So anyways, let's get to the Nancy Guthrie, you know, just kind of look around and at the routes, etc. Yeah, well, when you type that crap in, it's the troll food. Look at Gray. He's taking money from people on Social Security. Every channel has people that send in super chats. Nobody looks into, oh, wow, is that your... Hey, so-and-so, is this part of your Social Security check? Oh, well, don't ever send it in. Nobody does that. No, it doesn't, Rusty. That's part of the troll comments. I've seen it. Okay? I know exactly what you're saying. It doesn't make you feel that way, but that's what they tell you in those communities, so you're going to say that. Yeah, all right. Anyways, yeah, so we still need another probably 8 channel memberships to reach the goal tonight. All right, so see if you guys can do that somehow. All right, so here's Nancy Guthrie's home right here. And I guess, you know, it'd be interesting just to sort of see, like, where are the bottlenecks? You know? No, actually, we need 9 more. That would get us to the minimum goal. So if you look at this, and then we kind of go out to where are the main... You know, there's a whole bunch of these smaller roads that come out, though, right? I mean, you got that here. You know what you do is let's just put a pin on every one of the locations that exits that's inside of a main road. I mean, I've already outlined this thing, and we can do it again here. I think this might be pretty interesting. Maybe we can figure out some stuff. So let's go. Here is Nancy's house. So here's a main street right here. You can tell just by the size of it. And then you come around like this. And I don't think that's anything main there. And yet there's still... And then I think here... Come up. But yeah, guys, let's try to get the minimum goal tonight. We're almost there. 9 more channel memberships. By all the rest of the freaks. We haven't reached it in, well, really a couple days. And this is the part I just don't like to do, you know. Just, you see it dead again, and then you're trying to get people to keep the ball rolling, and it's just, trolls love it. Yeah, I think it just kind of go up here. Like that. And then up here, goes around. Yeah, and then I'm going to move it, just take that left right there. Orange Grove Road, I think that one looks bigger here. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman, the bass fishing legend. I mean, he really is one of those, like a professional bass fisherman. It's amazing. You know, that's something I actually thought like I wanted to do when I was a kid, you know. I mean, who the hell wouldn't want to do that? So look at that. This whole area here is the whole area around. All right, so now what we could do is maybe I'll make a special folder underneath here. We'll just call it like exit points. All right, and then let's put it right there. And then we'll just go in, and this whole place, we can come around. So that doesn't count. Here's one. We'll just follow the red line around. And we'll make these like, how about we just do, we'll go like this, like an E for exit. All right, there's one. There's that's not one. This one is a possibility. And we go up here. This one is not, because that's a cul-de-sac. These are like that one, and you know, entrance and exit. And then that one's one. I just kind of thought of this just now. This guy, I think it's actually a pretty good way to do this. And then right here, because all of these interior ones I think are somehow accessible, but not, you know, some won't be very likely, you know. You know, you can't see those very good though. Let me make that a different color. Yeah, we'll just do that even though there's no E in it. Alright, and there we go. And there's another one. I'm just fixing the color because I couldn't see him. Hey, thanks, Jessica Schubach. Jason Bourne. I'm actually watching. I just started watching. I never saw the beginning of Bourne Identity. It's pretty weird. Like he's out floating around in the ocean. I never saw that one, but I was already watching it on TV. All right, there's one, and here's another one right there. Okay, and then this one's not. That's not. You know what? This one's not either. Look at that's, you're trapped in there. Well, no, you could get to there, so that's a possibility. But they're not very possible. See, the thing is, what we're going to do is eliminate the ones we're like, yeah, that's a little too contrived at that point. That one's really got a lot of stuff, and that's sort of the main in there. So that one's more reasonable. Yeah. About what? What new interview? What are you talking about, Karen? This one's blocked. Nothing there. This one has one. Oh, yeah. Well, send me the link then, Karen. Wouldn't that be helpful if you would do that? Like, hey, Gray, the sheriff did a new... Well, I don't know who it's with, so if you send me the email, maybe we can take a look at it. All right, so make sure to send that on over. Hey, thanks, Caruso Connell, for matching Jessica's... her... I'm trying to figure out, what is it, Matt? Oh, yeah, her super chat. There you go. Hey, Karen, just send it to me instead of, you know, regurgitating it over and over again. Just send it to me, all right? You don't need to discuss it in there. Let's just send it over. We'll take a look at it. I know, it's crazy. That's what makes this case so weird. It's like, how come there's nothing, you know? It's just... It almost makes you think that they're onto somebody and they're actually going to make an arrest at some point. They just have to get some evidentiary information in place. That's what it feels like sometimes. It's just too quiet. And I hope that is the case. You know what would be amazing, though? If Nanos' team is who did it. Because then it would just be like, F all of you guys, you know? That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? It's not going to happen, but wouldn't that be incredible? He'd just be able to just, you know, you guys didn't think I knew what I was doing. Right, but you could have found it a long time ago instead of just talking about it. Alright, let's see. Let me get this next one. Right here. And then there's this one. That's sort of interesting, all the different roads. That one's... I'm not even going to put that. That looks... No way. I mean, I guess you could drive down here and then turn... we'll put it in there. But what we'll do is we'll start eliminating ones that just don't seem reasonable. I think we're almost all the way around now. All right, I think that's about it. Look at that, though. Isn't that a wild? Look at all of those exit points from the main one. Yeah, maybe just listen to the audio of it. So Enton interviewed the sheriff, huh? Wow. All right, guys, we need 6 more channel memberships to get to the minimum goal tonight. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they might be right onto something. I think they might be... I don't know. I guess we'd have to see. But I think it's possible, you know. What do you mean you got it from People magazine? I thought you said he interviewed... She said Enton interviewed... Ah, Jesus. Well, how about somebody send me the People magazine the People magazine interview. We'll go over that. All right? How about we take that one? What do you accept? What do you mean it was on Enton tonight? If People interviewed him, how was it on Enton tonight? You mean he talked about it? What happened? Thank you, Chris O'Connell. Wow, Jesus. See how miraculous it is? Thank you. Very kind of you. I saw the word horse on there and I thought it was going to be horse teeth, cow teeth. Yeah, you made the goal. Thank you. The minimum goal there. Thank you. Very cool. Okay, well, I don't need to have Enton read it for me. So if you can send me the People magazine interview, Karen, then I can read it myself, just like Enton did. I don't need to hear the way he read it. You get what I'm saying? All right. So this is where Nancy's house is right here. And we've just now gone through and put blue pins everywhere where it's possible he entered or exited from. See that? And thank you so much there, Chris O'Connell. Yeah. Man, we would be so far away from the goal tonight if you didn't help out. Thank you. But everybody who supported the channel tonight played a role in getting to the minimum goal again. Maybe later I'll do my one if we, 5 for 5 or. All right, so let's go through it and we'll X out the ones that we think are too much. I mean, this is where the car is. It seems sort of automatically more likely that the vehicle would have made it to this main road right here, which is Campbell Avenue. All right. That seems like, based on where they're at, like that would be the most likely, but maybe they thought of that and so went a different direction, right? So, I mean, if you went this way, I guess that's the way to kind of look at it. If you went this direction, you could either go right or left. If you went left, you would come here. You could have turned left there, and then you'd have to go you would go back up here and go out that way. If you took a right out of here, if you took that first right, you could also get out right there. However, if you took a right there, you come up here, take a right, and then boom, you're out there again. It seems like up here is stupid, You're getting too close to way too many cameras and everything. And I think you could almost eliminate these two right here. These are, right? You guys agree with that? How about we make those red or something so that they're still there, but they're just not. All right, so there's one and this one right there. Yeah, see, these two aren't, I don't think they're likely to have anything to do with anything. These two, I think, are really, those two have a chance. They're right there. This one, now, if he went out this way, I would say that if he knew what he was doing, he would have had to have been there before, that he could come out and then he would have gone there. And that's probably, like, I would make this one red here. I don't think there'd be any reason to go down a dirt road and then go over here. It just sort of, there's no point in that. And plus, you're driving right here next to, let's see what it looks like. I think it'd be a bad move. These cameras, if this house has a camera, would be right on. I mean, hell, that's a camera. I think those might be two cameras right there. Right there, and so that would be stupid. And then you're driving by another house right next to the road here, another really dumb place, because there could be a camera right there, and then they'd see your car. Right? So that just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to turn this one red also. You guys on agreement on that one? I just don't think that is very likely. So we got 1, 2, 3 now over here. So let's see, if you're over here, and I mean, here's the problem, like, the more convoluted you make it, the absolute greater chance of being lost in there. Okay, because I'm telling you, when I did the Koberger case, and it wasn't even anywhere near as complicated as this is. I got lost and lost and lost. And then when I drove it around about 3 or 4 times, I had it memorized. It was so easy. And I think that's what this person did. But I don't think, even if you went there 1,000 times, you could remember to drive, for example, like this, and then weave into here, come down, drive over there, you know, do all these things, and then come out over here. You know, I mean, I guess if you figured out a way to get to this, it might be sort of easy. That is sort of a main, let's see. So if you're right over here, and then you took this right, and then you said, okay, take that right, and then boom, then you're on this north via Entrada, which seems to be kind of like a 2-lane separated street. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, but it looks pretty, you know, I don't, you know, this would be just brutal to try to figure out what you're doing. You know, but in that case, if you stayed on it, it does take you out to the highway over here. So, I guess I have to sort of leave that one on there, because it's not too convoluted to just turn there and then boom, you're on that, and then you can get out. And as soon as you get to that, you just know, okay, turn left and you're out of there. But that's just, it's not very likely. You know, I should probably make that a different color, but I'm going to take this one out of here. Well, let's see, we had, oops, Jesus, what happened? So we had 1, 2, and then 3. This one, that's right, we switched this to red. And then came down here. I think these are red too. There's no way. That wouldn't make any sense. And then this one, dirt road down here, it doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, so right now, we've kind of been narrowing it down. Do you guys sort of agree with some of these picks here? I mean, we can all sit there and go, well, I don't know, man. Maybe, look at, from this house right here, it would be a nightmare to even go there and practice over and over and over again to figure out how to drive through, get down here, and then sort of like, I mean, down here and then cut across, drive on this dirt road, come down here. Oh, there you go. You get out right over there. That just, you know, forget it. And then I guess over here, let's start going around at the top. This one is very possible. You can see how you just pull out, drive, take a left on E Camino, and boom, you're right there on a main road right there. Okay, so that one is actually easy. Okay, so picture it like this. He pulls out of the driveway, or, you know, right in that area, driveway, and then comes around, and then probably, what's the name of this street? Yeah, that street right there that I was just at. So let's do it again. It's almost easy to do just visually right there. So you drive through, and then you just know, okay, when this street hits like a main street, turn left. And there you go. Probably like right there, right? And then you turn left, and then you drive, and then it takes you out right onto the road over here. So that one's very, very simple. All right, so that one definitely has to stay there. Blue. This one, I'm going to make that, this one just seems stupid too. You have to go into this neighborhood, drive around, forget it. Are you guys even interested in this? How about this? While I'm working on this, I'll... well, I don't know. I guess I have to read it, right? Is this the... What? Okay, People Magazine. You guys want me... Let me do this first, because you guys will all be going, oh, I'm going to go watch it. I'm going to go read it. Great. Even though you don't really sound like that. That's just fun for me. All right, here we go. Authorities investigating the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie in Arizona are turning to a growing web of digital clues in the case. How come it's still growing? I mean, I think they hopefully they've followed a vehicle. That's the only thing that would make sense. How come you didn't have all the video, at least in the neighborhood, though? Last, 2 days ago. I mean, 2 days into this sucker, This includes thousands and thousands of videos, according to Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, who tells people that investigators are focused on analyzing digital evidence, DNA, and tips in hopes of identifying a suspect. Well, I guess if that's all true there, then they aren't onto anybody. I'm just always hoping that's what's going on. Right now, I think our focus is on the tips, the leads, and the evidence we have in front of us. He says digitally, the camera footage, as well as biological, the DNA, and those types of things. The camera footage. What, the camera footage? Or, I mean like the whole tranche of footage, or what? Right now, I think our focus is on the tips, the leads, and evidence we have in front of us, he says. Digitally, the camera footage, as well as biological, the DNA, and those types of things. Yeah, Guthrie disappeared. I hate when they have to do this stupid recap again. Guthrie, 84, disappeared from Tucson, Arizona. It's just like space filler. Yeah, we know. She was last seen on January 31st and is believed to have been taken from her home against her will, as the FBI previously released photos of a masked assailant approaching her front door in the middle of the night. The Guthrie family has since offered a $1 million reward in hopes of getting information. Getting information about their mother's whereabouts. My team, I said all along, they're gonna solve this, he says. I fully 100% believe that. I'm telling you guys, if his team figures out this case, do you think there'll be many people going, well, geez, I guess he knew what he was doing a little bit, or they knew what they were doing? I think it really changes, like, the narrative. You know what I mean? Like it. I actually hope that for him, even though I don't really like him that much. It's just like, he's been absolutely just... I almost want to do a show one time on what has Chris Nanos done that has made the case unsolvable at this point. It just doesn't seem like he's done... okay, he didn't give the DNA to the FBI right away. But what difference does that make? They got it now. They haven't come up with any names or anything. There's no difference. Or, I guess the only thing that you could say was, like, the crime scene wasn't protected longer and didn't even seem like they collected the rug that was there, the carpet. Stuff like that. But I think it's just it's kind of overblown a little bit. I think it's way over his head, but hopefully his detectives are good enough. What are you talking about? No, it didn't. It didn't, Pork Chop. You're wrong. You're incorrect. I know exactly how it works. You're not correct there. That's absolute bullshit. Let's see. The Guthrie family has since offered a $1 million reward in hopes of getting information about their mother's whereabouts. My team, I've said all along, they're going to solve this, he says. I fully 100% believe that. Yeah, I already said that, pork chop, that he gave the scene back to the family. It was ridiculous. I said that already. You must have missed that. It was all in one sentence. I don't think he collected enough possible evidence, and that's what I already said that. Did you guys miss it when I said that he gave the scene up too quickly and he didn't even collect the doormat? I just don't think it was... I mean, that part's pretty big deal, the doormat stuff, right? But, you know... Yeah, I don't know if anybody really went into the house after he returned it. Like when he goes, hey, it's back to the family. I don't think a ton of family members started stomping around inside the house. Yeah, it's weird how you say something and then the people in the chat don't seem to hear what you just said and then repeat it as if you hadn't said it. I just think, yeah, the DNA is totally different. It isn't what you said up there. They sent the DNA to their lab. They extracted the DNA, and they're just as capable as the FBI is. Some of them are even better. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. So the Guthrie family has since offered, what we already did that. Yes, my team, blah, 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 blah. At the center of the investigation now is an enormous catalog of surveillance footage gathered from intersections. That's kind of what we're trying to do right here. Intersections, neighborhoods, businesses, and home security systems across the area. But how come you haven't... I mean, this is like 3 months in. You should have been able to do this already. You know? There's thousands and thousands of video out there from intersections and ring cameras that we have to catalog, Nanos explains. Man, what do you mean? I don't know, man. You know what? Put a 1 if you were working on this case. Wouldn't you sit there for, 18 hours a day looking at the surveillance footage and putting it all together, like, right away? Like, the surveillance footage should have been dialed in and completely done a long time ago, in my opinion. Doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense, pork chop. Yeah, you typed it in about way after I said it. Let's see, they got nothing, absolutely nothing. I mean, it's just like the Koberger case, right? When the defense attorney, what's her name, Ann, whatever, she goes, man, there's just so much surveillance footage. I just don't have time to look at it. What a joke. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, pork chop. That's okay, man. It's alright. Don't worry about it. What's bad about it is you keep having to have a response to try to debate what I said. I've already told you that the DNA wasn't destroyed like you just said, okay? That's not true, what you said. And so if you want me to go, wow, great thought there, it's not true, but I'm going to let you know that it's awesome, okay? They are able to, these labs out there, like Othram and all these other labs, they are just as good at the FBI at getting DNA, analysis out of pieces of evidence, all right? Just as good. They have the same, sometimes even more ability because they're private. Yeah, I could always tell the troll types who, if you try to, say, yeah, that's not true, they get too offended too quick. I just explained to you 2 minutes ago. Well, that means they're idiots, pork chop, I mean, if they want to touch it because some other lab touched it, that makes them lame, like, oh, you should have given us it first, so I'm not going to do it now. Hey, welcome, Steve. Look at that, a Megazoid even. Thank you. Steve's lore. Hey, all right. I know you. You're the one that sent me the generous PayPal. Thank you. I think. I mean, I don't know. It's possible. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, don't come back with those comments like, this is why I don't chat, to be honest. Just, it's okay if people don't agree with you, man. You know, nobody's going to, tomorrow, I won't care, you know, and you shouldn't care either. It's just, look at, we've been, on my channel, you know this, we've been working with DNA and stuff like that for a very, very long time. All right, like an incredibly long time. And it's, you know, there are cases like if you have so little DNA that you might be able to burn through something. But I don't know, like if you have like mixture of DNA, it's so brutal to try to extract the other profile. And you know why? Because they don't have a known profile. If you have a known profile and you know it's part of the mixture, you can then subtract out that DNA, and then it's left with something else. If you have two completely unknown profiles and they're mixed, it's almost virtually impossible, because you might be able to find out, okay, that's you know, the particular segment on a strand of DNA. You might be able to figure that out, but then how do you know which one of the samples goes with what? You know, it's brutal. I don't know. I think there's got to be a way at some point for them to be able to do it. You know, perhaps what they could do is, let's say you find, let's just say for a lack of a better term, a chunk of DNA that includes particular markers in it. And then you sort of catalog that. Maybe it only has like 30 of the things, like ding, 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 ding. And then you find another piece of DNA that has the same segment in there, because some of the stuff is all humans have it. So, but then it's a little different than the other one, or not even, it could be quite a bit different. So then you move that aside and say, okay, this is a different person's portion of that same part, because, you know, it didn't have a particular, you know, I don't know if the word is allele or whatever the hell the term is that they, I'm not sure that even makes sense, but and maybe they can just kind of keep separating because of the overlap. Do you guys even hear anymore? All right. Let's see. The process, he says, is methodical. Build the digital map first, then work backwards once investigators have someone in which to compare. This is exactly what I've told you guys, haven't I? How many times have I said this exact same thing? That they've got to find like the vehicle and, you know, where it's going, and then try to bring it back to the house. I mean, I've said it so many times, it's unbelievable. So it says, oh, you know, like this is like he's just sort of pretending it's a thought, you know, by somebody else. Oh, he drives a white truck. So watch, there'll be videos tomorrow saying, Nano says he drives a white truck. You know how this is going to work, right? Nano says he drives a white truck. Instead of just saying, you know, the way he's talking is like, oh, let's say he drives a white truck, you know. Were there any white trucks in the area at that time? Or you know, oh, he drives a white truck. Were there any white trucks in the area at that time? Nanos continues. Oh, John Doe has the cell phone number. You back up those pieces of evidence that you gathered early on to try to make your case. Now, there you go. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's done a damn thing either. I'm just saying, if his team solves the case, you know, I mean, it's going to make a lot of people sort of like, oh, There's people out there that hope to God Nanos doesn't solve the case. I don't care if he solves it or not. I think it'd be actually more entertaining if he did, to be honest with you. I'd like to see what people start saying. You know, it's going to be kind of, you know, I'm not a fan of his at all, you know. All right, how about I'll do a challenge now since you guys have totally died off here. If I'll donate 5 channel memberships on my own, if you guys donate 5 individual, like just 1 channel membership from 5 people. Yeah, I think Nanos it's way over his head is what I've said the whole time. You know? And a lot of people read all the little stories about him and stuff, so of course they don't like him at all, you know. I mean, that's all Brian Etten does is little hit pieces on Nanos every day because there's no other new information, so it's like, hey, let's go after Nanos again. You know, it's like, really? How does that help solve anything? You know, we can sit here and do the we hate Nanos every single day, but there's nothing about it that gets you anywhere towards trying to solve the case. It's just like, even if you could determine that he screwed up and he didn't solve you know, his behavior caused a problem, how does that help anything? You can't go back and change what's already happened. You know what I mean? Yeah. How does it help, though? Like all these videos and conversations people have about Nanos, how's it help? Can anybody tell me? Anybody? Yeah, I didn't think so. Do you guys hear what I said, though? If you guys do 5 individual channel memberships, I'll donate 5 myself. How come every time I do the challenges, it's just like this? Yeah, I'm really, I mean, I'm being truthful, though, when I tell you, like, even if we all dislike Nanos, etc., what good does it do to keep making video after video and digging into how he doesn't get along with so-and-so, and it's just a total, complete waste of time. I don't care if he's lied about on an application. It has nothing to do with anything right now. It's all water under the bridge. It already happened. It's too late. So it doesn't help anything. Let me ask you this. How does it help find Nancy Guthrie by talking about how Nanos lied on an application? How? It was a long, many years ago. It's almost irrelevant, really. It's just, oh, come on, Zozo. Don't get into it. Don't get into it. See, that's what I'm saying. It's just, hey, thanks, Jim Lawn and Wild Bill Wassman. Hey, check it out, man. That means we've only got 3 more to go here. All right, let's see. I know we have DNA that is unknown who the contributor or depositor is, but I think they're getting closer to finding out who that is, or who that was. So there must be, they may have got a DNA sample. We're going back to what Pork Chop was talking about. So they may have had a sample. Let's see. And maybe it only had something like 200 centimorgans or something. You know, and then it's kind of difficult to start filling out a tree. And maybe they've worked the tree and they're kind of getting somewhere, but then they need to have some other people submit their DNA to start filling it out further. And that's what these genealogists do, by the way. Sometimes they figure out who family members are, and then just to make, you know, they have different people, they pay for them to sign up for family, you know, like Ancestry.com, and then get the raw data kit, and then they upload it to GEDmatch and see how that helps them in their tree. And so sometimes you actually have to get other people to do it, Or if they're already on like Ancestry, might email them and say, hey, I'm so and so. We're trying to, just whatever you'd explain to them. And then if they're already on Ancestry, you just say, hey, would you mind downloading your raw data kit? And you kind of have to explain it to them so people don't get freaked out or something. Yeah. Oh my God, you guys, though, I don't like when you guys do the little, almost patronizing like that. Pork chop's an adult, they're fine. Okay, you guys don't need to be oh come on, pork chop, you guys didn't care what he was saying prior, so just don't pretend. All right, so we need 3 more gifted memberships, you guys. All right, that'd be great. It's just weird. I think if I was in a chat room and people started like that, I'd be like, oh boy, yeah. I don't think so. I don't want to do call-in tonight. Why? Are you going to call in, Wild Bill? I mean, why are you asking that? Let's see. Did he... I don't know. Just go look it up, Zozo. It's out there. I'd like to talk about what we're talking about right now. I'm sorry that somebody brought that up. Let's see. It says, according to the sheriff, multiple laboratories across the country, including federal and state partners, are collaborating behind the scenes as technology continues to evolve. Wow. I mean, evolving technology is what you're relying on? Wow. There's nothing else we can do. Let's see. So, well, when the labs tell us, hey, there's nothing else we can do, well, then maybe we got a problem. We've got a cold case. But right now, the labs aren't telling us that. Yeah, it sounds like they're pretty far away. Well, no, I already know what it is, though, so I've seen it before. You're the one that doesn't know it yet, so you need to check it out. According to the sheriff's, multiple laboratories across the country, including federal and state partners, are collaborating behind the scenes as technology continues to evolve. When you have the best minds of the country working on problems, I think they're going to solve them, Nano says. It just takes a while. Nano says investigators are intentionally moving carefully even amid the mounting public pressure for answers. So you're saying that your Tucson Police Department has the best minds in the country? I don't know. I'm not really sure about that. Nobody wants to make a false arrest. Nobody wants to falsely accuse somebody, he emphasizes. At some point in time, we may have somebody in a courtroom that deserves his or her right to have a fair and impartial trial. The way you get that is through a fair and impartial investigation. As a public fascination with the case has intensified online, so too has criticism over the pace of the investigation. But Nano says detectives are focused on... I mean, look at it. It's been 3 months, a little bit over 3 months right now, don't you think? You know? Right, Timothy calls in. We get the same people calling in every time that we do the call-in shows. So it's kind of like I take a break for a second. Calling your face. What does that mean, man? My first is calling your face. What does that even mean? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of want to keep working on what I'm working on. So maybe tomorrow we can do another call-in or something. I had to take a break to read this for you guys, but I keep getting sidetracked. And then I want to go back to what I was working on. All right? Is that okay, or... let's see. But Nanos says detectives are focused on evidence, not deadlines. There's frustration because people want to know. You want to know, he says. But by the way, we still need 3 more gifted memberships, and then I'll donate 5 myself. So if you guys can do that, that'd be great. But this is just like any other case. Sometimes you solve them within hours or days. Sometimes it takes a long time. This comes after an apparent rift between local and federal authorities. Okay, what we, the FBI, do is say, hey, we're here to help. What do you need? What can we do? Patel said at the Hangout with Sean Hannity's podcast. And he said, in the Bureau, let's see, and for 4 days we were kept out of the investigation. Nanos, who has bristled. I know, but there's other cases where the FBI isn't called in for weeks. Because it's just like, hey, let's call in the FBI. The plane that was started immediately, Nana says, referring to an aerial search. Okay. The sheriff doesn't do the investigation, his team does, he says. There are several people dedicated to this team, and they are the talent. Criticizing those who are actually out there touching it, smelling it, handling it, doing the work, that's just obviously shameful. Those young men and women are working hard every day. It says, for Nanos, much of the public criticism overlooks the realities of how complex criminal investigations unfold, especially when detectives are intentionally withholding information to protect the integrity of the case. Okay, well, give us something. I mean, I'd love to hear one of those pieces that they're keeping. In a March interview that aired on the Today Show, co-host Savannah Guthrie was asked, okay, well, is there any more from the, let's see, felt about how the search has been conducted. They asked her about that. Well, it's still going, she said, and people have worked tirelessly, and we see that, but we need answers. We cannot be at peace without knowing. Right. See, there you go. She's saying the same thing. The public is frustrated, even the Guthrie family, he says. Every passing... How about this? Maybe we'll do phone calls after I go through the rest of the map stuff after this. All right? Back in February, the FBI said it received more than 13,000 tips from the public, 9,000 of them from YouTube channel viewers who think they're super sleuthy and called in. Hey, did you check the cameras? Yes, we checked the cameras. Hey, how about have you guys tried the cell phone data analysis? Yeah, we've done that. Thank you. Hey guys, can we get the other 3 gifted memberships, please? This is my challenge. I'd like you guys to reach it so that I can donate the 5 memberships. All right? Thank you. Should be pretty simple. We still get calls and tips. We still get tips. Nana says, even if the tip is from last night, 102 days later, because it might be somebody calling saying somebody in this neighborhood doesn't look right. We'll tell our folks here in Pima County, if you see something suspicious, do call us. Now, this one's red here. Forget it. Right there. I mean, I don't mind the same people calling. I'm just saying, you know, like tonight I wanted to work through this here. Now, you know, I get the same people calling, they call in, you know. I like it when Jason Bourne calls in. You know, at least we work through the cases and stuff. I like it, you know. I don't know. It's frustrating, but can we get my challenge met, you guys? Can I ask why when I do it, it's so hard? Okay, this one I think is no way. Focus, you guys. Let's get to the challenge. This one, yeah, like a lot of these would be, that one would just be brutal to get to. And to memorize that in the, like you're not going to have a cell phone with you. So I think that one's red too. Yeah, I mean, that one is possible. Like, he gets to here, and then he took a right instead. It takes you right out there. So I think that one, actually, oh yeah, leave that one that color. This one, no. That one's going to be red. Yeah, it's just bizarre, you know. Like when I do a challenge, you guys just kind of look at it like, yeah, but it's so demoralizing, you know. It's just weird. Like the actual channel, the person who has the channel does a challenge, and we can't make it. It's crazy. Yeah, that one's too complicated. You have to come down. I mean, I don't even know. That one here is ridiculous. See how there's no street in there? So you'd have to come up here, go around, and somehow get out there. So this one, you can forget. That one is red also. Yeah. All right, you guys, we need 3 more gifted memberships, or just $15 total to reach my challenge. Anybody out there able to do it? Thank you. Okay, not that one, no. I can see nobody's even focused. You're all goofing around, laughing at other shit. Let's see, if you're right here, you have to come up here, turn left, come down, drive. Yeah, no way. That one, forget it. I mean, you could argue that, man, he went and tried to find the most complicated one and practice it. I just don't think that that's reasonable. And then from there it goes, yeah, that one's easy. All right, so that, look at that. That really kind of narrows it down. Look at the blue pins there. Those are the only ones that seem slightly reasonable. Wow, look at that, Michelle H. Finally, we got somebody other than earlier with... man, if I scroll a mile up there, we have Wild Bill Wassman and Jim Long. So we need 2 more now. All right. So the blue. And then out of these, I would think that the most likely are these 4 spots right here. This one, this one, this one, and this one. I think everything over here, even though this one isn't hard, you turn left, come down, take a right, and once you get onto this one, you can either go straight down like this, you're on the highway, or you can go right, and you're right out on this one, on First Avenue. So that one, definitely a possibility. It gets really complicated. These are kind of easy. You take a right, come out, and once you go like this. So your memory would be, after you turn right, you go past one street, and then you take the very next road that goes right. Then you come up here, turn right, and then boom, you're right there on a main street, and then you would know exactly how to get out of there from at that point. That one's probably the simplest route out of there, and the quickest. And in fact, I would think he would want to get out as quick as possible. I think this one is less likely, because why would you do that? I mean, I guess you could take the very first right, and then you'd have to sort of memorize a little bit more, take the very first left, and then the next right, and then you're there. It's not a lot of extra memory thing. This one, if you turn left, you come out, and then you sort of have to remember to get onto Camino here, and then you're there. But you'd have to turn left, know that you're passing another left, and then you take the next left after that, and that puts you out here. So these three here, I mean, that one's pretty good too, though, actually. So, I mean, those four are in play. This one here is the, this one right there is the easiest one. But interestingly, like if you go through this intersection here and you keep going down, where you would have turned right, you can turn left, and that also puts you up on a highway. So it's kind of like, you know, these two are probably the two most likely spots. This one is close there, but it's kind of complicated. You know, just having to turn left, and then you go down here, left again, and then you're here. It's not terribly difficult. I would say I'm gonna make this one red here. I think this one doesn't make sense. That one. All right, so now we just have three over here that seem the most likely. So you can go like that, boom, boom. This one's the third. So out of these three, I would say this is most likely, second most likely, and then this is the third. I know we've done the memory thing. I'm saying I went through the whole thing, and I discussed how when I went to Idaho, it's nowhere near as complicated as this. I don't think you're going to memorize a very complex, you know, all the way through like 20. That's why none of these other streets over here make any sense. These are way too complicated. This one isn't, you know, which one? Yeah, this one right here isn't impossible. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Because you can just come out here and then drive down there. There's really no reason to make it all complicated like that, driving through neighborhoods. But hey, guys, we need 2 more gifted memberships still to get to my challenge. I don't know why my challenges are so difficult, but we've been sitting here waiting for 20-something minutes just on my challenge alone. So let's see if we can get the final 2 gifted memberships in the challenge, and then I'll donate 5. Yeah, so let's go out here, take a look. Yeah, and so there's a ton of cameras over here. So I would think when you got to, you know, some of these houses might have picked up something, but it's kind of more like once you get out of the area and you're here, this is where they should start being able to pick up something. You know, like one of these, there must be a camera up there. There's one right there. See, one. And so you would think that this one, you know, let's say at what time? Probably like 2:35 or 2:40-ish. You know, somebody pulling out on this street would be interesting on that camera. There might be another, let's see. Yeah, it looks like this has got them all. I mean, there's one up here. So obviously one's probably facing that way. This intersection would be a huge intersection for, because that's one of the main exit points right there. So we could put a camera. Any chance we can get those other 2 gifted memberships, you guys? Right, so there we go. There's a camera right there. And then so if they turned right and went down this direction, see, like both this and this one come out on this street anyways. So then they come out over here, and let's see what we have in this area. Yep, there's a camera there. And there's a camera there. So same thing. So you're looking for a camera that's coming out of this neighborhood at around, like 235 again. Yeah, boy. And then, so, okay, we had that one. And then this one I thought was interesting. This one is a good place to have come out. Except I bet you there's no camera at this one. Oh, maybe. Hold on. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. But if you turn right there, you would have passed the other one. Hey, thanks, Karen. All right. Very cool. I guess we need one more now. Ah, screw it. We'll just say that was it. All right, here we go. Thank you for reaching my challenge. You've tried what? All right, there you go. There you go. Yeah, you just got to do the a super. What are those other ones? The stickers. Those seem to work sometimes. So let's say he's going down here. He turn. I mean, that's the thing. It's like if you get out of there and then you turn somewhere like this, you're probably not going into there. And then we could say, oh, no, he wanted to wait there for a few hours, so he didn't seem to be continuing. No way. With the body in the car. But right here, see, the problem is he could have turned right here. And then you're in this place where he's outside of sort of the zone that I created. Now, you could actually, if you go up here and then around and add that larger, bigger street, so I think I would start here, and then if you're having problems, I would then include all of these and then start working with that. But I would start with this one because these are kind of main roads, streets in the area that you'd have to get to. And I think, like this one's a possibility over here. That this isn't going to be a street that has cameras on it. It's a main road, but there's no cameras right here, right there, anyways. So let's see if you're driving up here, and then all of a sudden, if you turn left, you're outside again. That's why you kind of need this one as the next buffer to see if vehicles are exiting. All right. I think this is a pretty cool exercise to do, though. Because I think this is pretty accurate. I think these are... I'm not sure why this one should be red here. That one's... Yeah, I don't know if you're still out there, Chris O'Connell, but I was thinking, like, when I went to Idaho case, when I was in that neighborhood, that first night I had to stop 3 or 4 times just to figure out how to get past, do his route. But then after I did it like 5 or 6 times, I was like, oh yeah, and then I kind of had it memorized. But I think in this neighborhood it's worse. It's like way worse. I mean, if you came out many, many times, you might know how to drive around, but in pitch black darkness, man, I think you're just going to want to try to find something sort of really kind of, not incredibly simple, but, simple, Like right here, look how easy this is. You pull out, you turn right, and you take the first right after after you pass this intersection, you take the first right and boom, you're on a street that can take you to this one or this one. And by the way, both this side and that side have cameras on it. Unfortunately, all the way up as he's driving, he could have turned on any of these other streets. And so I'll tell you what, probably the best one to do would be to take this entire area like this. Watch what I'm doing here. And then around, and then even up this really main street, and then around like that. So this whole area, like basically all the way around like that, would be the larger area surrounded by a much bigger street. For example, this street here looks, it's a lot bigger, and there's probably light at most of the intersections. And so I think you're going to have, that would be sort of the secondary perimeter. Or you could go the other direction. I would actually start in here, though, and work like almost the opposite of what, I mean, it's kind of sad that what they're saying is they're looking for cameras and trying to work backwards. I mean, how would that even work? If you should be able to go the other direction. I mean, if you don't have footage in the neighborhood, how is it going to go back to the house anyways? And if there is footage in the neighborhood, wouldn't you be able to take the vehicle and then follow it out somewhere? So it's weird that they're saying you find a vehicle over here and then you work backwards. Man, that seems way harder than finding a vehicle in this general area and then working outwards. You know what I'm saying? You still out there, Wild Bill Waspin? It's good to know that you're back home. And everybody put out the positive vibes out there for Marty's Bar and Grill. He's just still struggling after his surgery. So if you guys have any positive vibes you can put out there, that'd be good. All right, here's the phone number, you guys. Let's do it, man. I think this is a pretty useful exercise right here, though. I think these 3 blue here are the most likely, these 2 being the most likely. This one makes it difficult because if you turned up any of these before hitting the light, what I should do is go through and put the camera wherever there's a camera. Like right here, I'm sure there's one. Yep, there's one there. Yeah, so this definitely has a camera. So I'm going to go ahead and put a camera here. Oh, shoot.
Call from
Timothy Cecil.
Cecil again. What's going on?
Oh, man. Every time you open the lines, I call in. So, chat for a second. So.
All right.
No, man. Like, I don't know. I hope this case is going to be solved, man. I don't know if I asked you this before, but you said you thought it would be, right?
Yeah, I think it would be solved. I thought it'd be solved a little quicker, but now it's not feeling as, I don't know. It just seems like the way he's talking doesn't sound like they're incredibly close to anything. Although, the problem is with the DNA. See, what's going to happen with the DNA, if it does lead to a name, once they get the name, then they have to investigate the people that it comes up with and then see if they're even viable suspects. And if it turns out they're not, they're just in a devastated position at that point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because we don't even know what the DNA belongs to that.
Yeah, it could just be, somebody who was in the house before, or it could even be somebody that was at a McDonald's before, and Nancy went into the McDonald's and touched the doorknob and got their DNA on their hand, and went home and then touched the counter, and then or some place in the house. I mean, I would assume that they collected DNA in places that are meaningful, like
in the bedroom.
Yeah, somewhere in the bedroom, or a doorknob, or something that they would have touched, that likely would have touched, or a hair in a certain place, or something. I don't know, but that's we don't really have we don't even know what was going on. See, they probably know in the house like where the person may have touched. Those doors, right? For example, the back door that they propped open, they must have touched it. And then, maybe they left touch DNA, because when you put the gloves on, you have to touch one of them with your bare hand a little bit when you're putting on the glove, right? So you're grabbing it, and then you put on the glove, and then there could be a little bit of DNA that's sort of stashed on the glove itself, and then you touch something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm there. Yep, sorry. I was just listening to what you were saying. So. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I know they can try the case without finding her body, but I don't know. It's just that interview, it just didn't seem like they were close at all. That's like what you're saying. So that just makes me feel like, fuck, man. Like, how much longer will this take,
Yeah.
No, seriously, because it sucks. Like, this case sucks. Like, you feel like since she was someone that's, like more, like she has a daughter that's really famous, you feel like, man, this case should be solved, pretty fast. Mm-hmm. It's not been.
Yeah.
But I like the routes that you were doing, real quick before I get off. I like those routes you were doing. I think the last one makes the most sense because it's really close to it's just a quick exit,
Yeah, boom, you're exiting and you're kind of out of there. I don't think you're going to want to spend extra time with the body in your car because I don't know. It just doesn't make, in some ways, like let's say you lived over here, and maybe you would want to quietly make your way through these side streets, cross over here, and then go like that, without ever really making it somewhere where a camera exists. If this guy really did his planning, you would think he would have marked down where cameras are and then avoid driving anywhere near those cameras. So it would be pretty crazy like this. The one route that I have over here, that I have the blue on this side, could actually make some sense. Because over here, all he has to do is drive this direction, take the first left, then the first right, and then a quick right again, and then boom, you're on this double road that either takes you to this main road or right here. Now, let's say he sort of lived over in this area, so he could have turned left there, and then boom, he turns right there, and then he's kind of driving around. He's always on, the back roads, making it somewhere, because he maybe even knows. I guess if we look at it like that, he probably didn't know Nancy's neighborhood incredibly well, other than like if you scouted it out and he learned how to drive around in that area. But he may be from the general area and knows all the other streets much better, over here.
Right.
So,
that was going to be one of my questions I was going to ask you, if you thought he lives in that community too.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of interesting because, you know, even when they had the Bluetooth sniffer helicopter flying around, they kept flying around still in the same neighborhood. Why would they do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it's what a waste of time if you didn't think she was around there. See, the thing is, it seems like in the first couple weeks, the evidence that they did get from the cameras almost made them think that they never left the general area. That's what it seems like. But I think now they probably believe that she did leave the area, and they're just trying to sort of backtrack and figure out how the hell they got out of there. What vehicle was it? See, and that's why you got to start near the crime scene, and the first light you see around 2:35 of any kind of light at all on a camera, that is going to be a huge piece of information. So, like, I would say within, 500 yards of Nancy Guthrie's home at 2:35, if you have any kind of light at all on a camera, driving on a street, that's definitely something you want to keep tracking. Because how many people are driving around in a sort of a retirement community at 2:35 in the morning? Probably not too many.
Right, and that's what kind of makes me think he lives in that community, because, like, it would be obviously he's probably not going to drive really far that early because it's risky to drive around in the morning like that. That's what makes me feel like maybe he lives in the community, or like very close to where she lives, Nancy Guthrie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's riskier to drive, like, all right, now I got to drive 45 minutes to get home. At 2:35, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think,
he
went there to abduct Nancy Guthrie. So the thing is I think you'd want to get the hell out of there quick. But you might say, I don't, when I was younger, and let's say you went out to a bar and you had a couple drinks, and you're not really wasted or anything, but you just don't even want to get pulled over. So you might take these routes through neighborhoods that you wouldn't normally drive, because you know how to get to a place that's farther away without ever going on a main street where there might be a cop.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe that's what he, even though he knew he was going to have Nancy Guthrie in the car, he'd be driving across, and he might have taken a longer route, like this route over here. That's why I still have this blue pin over here. So let's say he makes it over here. Well, he easily, at that point, now he might know this area. So he just goes, oh, okay, I'm over here. So the only part he had to memorize was just to get to this double road. Once you get to that double road, which that's how you know it can either go south or, let's see if I hit this button here, or west to get to First Avenue here. And then from there, he might know this area now. So then he goes, okay, and he goes up here, he winds around. I mean, wouldn't that be crazy if the person lives right here in this square?
That would be crazy. Yeah, that would be crazy.
But it's outside of the, the other streets there. And it's even way more sparse. Notice the density over on this area than it is in this one. It's different.
Yeah, wow.
It's not quite
I feel like he probably does live I don't think he lives I think it's like a similar thing to what with Richard Allen, where he lived in the community kind of thing, or pretty close by.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be one of those kind of cases. Do you think so too, or?
I think he might live by. I don't know what he did, what exactly he did with her, but he makes it to the street, and then he sort of knows how to get somewhere else without being on camera. Because I think this street's, like I said before, a better perimeter is this whole area like this. Except there's many places along the main road. So even on this highway up here, or, road, it's not a highway, but like you're driving by it, I mean, let's just go there. So you're right down here. And this one, I don't know if that's a light. I don't know. It looks like something else. It's not a camera. Like some of these don't have cameras. Well, maybe that's a camera right there. I don't know what that is. That looks more like a counter. The cameras have those little
Yeah,
pointed...
it doesn't really look like.
Yeah, I don't think that's what that is. Yeah, so all these streets here, maybe that's one over there, though. I don't know. They don't look the same. But like what I'm going to do later is I'll go around and I'll where there's definitely cameras, I'll put a camera symbol on there on the outer perimeter area. And then, but you'll see that in between cameras, there's a whole bunch of roads that leave the road. So if you somehow are able, let's just say, for example, he drives out right here. I don't have this because it's you know, this is my road right, my road right here that I stopped at. But the larger perimeter is up here. So let's say he somehow makes it out here. Maybe not there, but like right over here he turns. Then he drives up, and now he's out on this main road. And then he drives down. I don't know if that gets you out there, but this one here, you could turn left. And then he turns right here. There's no light. There's no camera anywhere. So then he goes up here, and then he, you know, who the hell knows where he goes at that point? Then it's hard to follow, and then you have to rely on people's surveillance cameras.
Right. But it feels like if, like what you were saying earlier, if you got to that double road, it feels like you would kind of know where to go from there. You know, like what you were saying. Yeah,
it's not even that hard, really. But that is something like Chris O'Connell was talking about. Like you'd have to memorize some. Let's just see. Let me just take a look at it and see if we could randomly do it. All right. So you take a left, you come out, and then you take the first left there, and then the first right, and then a left and a right, and then boom, you're right there. So let's just see if like we could just do it right now. Let me see if I stayed just like this even. Okay, so you take a left, and then you take the first right that's down here, and then take the first right after that, and then no, there you go. So that does work like that. So let's just see from street view angle. If I was down here like this, it might take a minute or so. But you got any other stuff?
No. I was just looking at what you're talking about. The routes is really interesting to me. So I like listening to that. I can just listen to that on the show. So all right, well
we can let
thanks,
Jason Bourne if he wants to call in too.
Yeah, Jason.
Hey man, it's good talking to you.
All right, good to talk to you, man. All right.
All right, have a good one. See you.
Bye.
Timothy Cecil. All right, so here you are. You're at this street. Then you turn left. All right, then I think after this we take the first right on the main street down here. And by the way, Timothy, how are you able to see the... You must not be far behind on your video to be able to watch what I'm doing on the screen. Usually there's like 20-second delay. Let's see if we can do it. Alright, so it passes that. I think I'm doing the right thing here. Oh man, I don't know. See, it's already getting kind of hairy just doing the driving here. So don't I take this right and then a left or something? Oh man. Or was it left here? Ah, crap. I have to go look. Man, I have no idea where I was right there. I just want some totally... I'm trying to get over here. Alright. So it's like this. So let me just... Okay, at the end of the road here. And right there. Then you turn. You go down this way. Oh yeah, the audio. Okay, cool. So you're not that far behind then, Timothy. And thanks everybody reaching the goal tonight. Also, and extra thanks to Chris O'Connell up there. Obviously, I mean, no, we wouldn't have made it. Let's see. Yeah, I thought it was just here, wasn't I? I just went by that. So why does it look like I'm? Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so I was doing the right thing. That's right. So you just follow it down and then you take a right. This is the long way though. Like you're just trying to show up somewhere else that, you know, sort of throws people off, because why would you drive all the way through, you know, not get on a main street as quick as possible? Alright, so make it to this one. And isn't this where I turn right here? Gosh, man. Yeah. That's right. This is where you take a right. So you're right there, you take a right, and then you take the first right after, you come around the corner here and you take a left. So you'd have to remember do this multiple times so that it's just in the darkness, it's easy. But you come around this corner and then right around in here you take this right there.
Call from James aka Jason Bourne.
How's it going? Gotta turn down the audio in the background. You gotta turn down the audio.
Oh yeah.
All right, what's going on?
If you're still working right now and you're going through it, because I might be on a delay, do you want me to just be silent a moment while you continue finishing that so I'm not disturbing?
Oh, you can say what you're on. I don't think you're on a delay. You can say what you're saying.
I just don't. I know you're in your focus right now, and you're in the maze. So.
Yeah, I mean it's already kind of complicated. Let me see if I'm heading in the right direction. Oh yeah, I was just about there. Yeah, okay. So I was on this, and then once you get to the double road, which is right here, you go. Oh, so this is where you would sort of recognize that you could, and then this is where you'd go north, and that takes you right out to the upper highway with no camera on it. Yeah, anyways, all right. So what do you got?
Well, first of all, great job on covering the different routes tonight, and just thinking about what it would be like for that person trying to leave the area. And I thought you did a great idea, because I was watching as you were going along, and you're like, well, this really wouldn't go anywhere. So obviously, and you're very much starting to narrow it down, like the focal points, the choke points. And I thought that was really good. So that's first compliment I wanted to say. And then I wanted to give a shout out to the freaks who rocked on the goal. And just want to say how cool it is coming into the chat and seeing all the positivity in there, and a lot of people appreciate what you do, Gray. And so I know sometimes you might feel down and you're wondering whether people like what you do, but you do a great job, and there's a lot of people that appreciate it, and sometimes there's a delay, so they'll put in something and they'll respond to something, and it might not be that you don't see it until a little bit later,
Yeah, so, but on my end, right, it's weird. It's like I'm ahead of all of you guys by 30 seconds. Then somebody might hear something and then they put it in there. Maybe that's what was going on with the one guy. I can't remember the name already, but I don't know.
But anyway,
yeah.
Well, beyond that, I did want to talk about the different routes that you were going over and certain things that were standing out. And one of the things that stood out to me was that when you look at the labyrinth that was needed, I wouldn't say that was needed, but that surrounds that area, that you are a person who's going to want to be familiar with where you go. And that is going to take at least, if like just hypothetically, if you were an outsider and you had to learn that, I doubt that somebody, and I'm not saying if they were using to reduce their digital footprint that they turned everything off, and they're saying that when they drive through the neighborhood to case that they're thinking, okay, I have to learn this. But the question is I don't think you're going to learn it the first time, and I don't think you're going to learn it the second time. I think you'd have to go through there several times to kind of really understand, especially strategically if you were thinking about cameras, because then that involves even more kind of understanding what roads to take.
Yeah, so you might try to do something that's a little less like, hey, I'm getting onto the main road quickly. You know, you might think, I mean, you can, like, for example, if he came out, you know, in that spot that that I have over on the right, the number 1 spot, and you turn right, there isn't a lot of cameras on the road until you get to the main intersection way down there, but there's plenty of times to turn off of it, you know, so.
Well, what I was thinking about is it did make sense what you were saying about the fact that nobody likely with a body in the car is going to want to be lingering around anywhere for any period of time. You're going to want to be, you know, out of view. But where I was going with that is that, you know, what's so interesting is that you would think that with the distance that a person would have to drive to get even 20 miles away, that even at that point, you are going to encounter cameras. You're gonna, I mean, even to get 20 miles away, sooner or later you're going to encounter cameras. And why that is relevant is that, just hypothetically, if the FBI doesn't have any hot suspects on camera, it almost makes you think, well, then why is it that they didn't pick this person up, say, in a 20-mile radius? Why haven't they been able? Because it would be different, say, if we were talking about daytime where there was lots of activity and cars and traffic, but we're talking at night where there would be minimal traffic. So you should be able to, you know, see things pretty good, especially at that time in the morning. Where I'm going with this is that since they apparently, if we presume that they have, that the FBI doesn't have a lead on the car, and you know that it's kind of empty right now, that if they didn't pick it up in that 20-mile radius, if that thing wasn't seen on camera enough for FBI to zoom in on it, it almost makes you think that that person does live close by. As Tim was bringing up, you know, and you were talking about earlier, because that would be the natural conclusion, is that how do you avoid all the cameras? You live close by.
Right.
And I want to point this out, why it's relevant, is that, so if you did live close by, you would have lots of advantages, and one of them would be that you probably would already have a fairly good understanding of how the roads all worked. So you wouldn't need a lot of, like, so for example, I'm just putting this out there. So if a person was a novice coming in from the outside that really didn't understand the area, they're going to have to take several trips in to case and to really get the lean of everything. But if you already live nearby and you're familiar with that, you don't need to do a lot of understanding of how the roads work and driving around, because you already know. All you have to really know is what's going on around Nancy's house when you know, during the prime time when you're choosing to go there. So where that leads to is that, so since this person hasn't been caught and they did pull this off with Nancy, they were comfortable enough to do it, thinking that, oh, I can go over there and nobody's going to catch me or see me, and I can, not only that, but I can be comfortable enough to get away so that no cameras are going to see me. Because you'd think the normal person, if they were like, I have to get 20 miles, 30 miles away, they're going to have to think about cameras all the way along. And that's going to be a scary thing if you're the perpetrator, because you know you will be on camera eventually. But it wouldn't be scary for somebody who lived close by. They could entertain that easily because they would say, a camera will never see me. A camera will never see me. And if that was the case, then it would point to a possibility.
I mean, I would take like every car, like from 2:35 to 3 in the morning. Any car that's moving around in that general area. But yeah, I mean, if he lives there, then he could have already been in a garage at 2:40. You know.
Well, one thing that and I don't know if you saw this footage, I think maybe you did see the footage, but there is a point in time, and I'm not suggesting anyone in the family is involved by this comment, but I'm about to make, but I will say that there is some footage at one time with a bunch of agents who seemed to be zeroing in on homes that were around the immediate family. And there were people actually filming as a bunch of these agents kind of converged on several different driveways as they were walking up the road. And there was a suspicion that something was going to happen. And the only reason why I'm bringing that up is because if they had some idea that this person didn't travel too far away, which I do know that the immediate family does, I think, live within 10 to 15 minutes, that, you know, just hypothetically, if this was a person who was familiar with the immediate family and kind of knew their connections and knew their mother, that they could go and hide somewhere quickly because they would be in close proximity. And this might explain also then why the FBI had a suspicion for converging on that area originally, that if they happened to see some footage that led them to believe that, hey, there's something over here we need to look into. I don't know, again, if any of you know, why they were there was necessarily because they thought a vehicle could have been in an area that would have taken them near the immediate family. But it does make you wonder in degrees of separation because, you know, if we were thinking about, well, somebody who lived close by, and if they were having to beef with somebody in some sort of way, well, then if you lived close by, then you could be in the range of where the immediate family lived. And,
well, it's also,
you know,
if you look at it, like because Annie lived over here. Oh, you can't probably see it, but you know, it might be a place where there's like a blank camera zone. Like the thing is there is cameras that go around, and maybe they didn't see a vehicle, and then they thought, man, maybe they made it out through this area, you know, sort of near where, because Annie lives between, I haven't looked at all of these spots yet, but I would. Yeah.
And what I was wondering about that, as you were saying it, is that, and again, I don't want to implicate the family. That's not what I'm trying to do in any way. I'm just trying to say that it would be very interesting to know if there was a way to get over near where they live and not have to pass any cameras, if everything could be bypassed fairly easily. And I don't know if that is the case, but I've heard it's only 10 or 15 minutes away.
Yeah, no, it's close. It's not. It's only 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually looked it up. It was part of the, you know, when they say, you know, at 9:48 is when the garage door opened. So that's why I always say they left, you know, Annie's house at 9:38 because it's 10 minutes to drive.
And the other classic tie-in, I think, that's kind of a little interesting, too, is so that, like, just hypothetically, if you were not a person that lives in the Tucson area, and then you were thinking, like, oh, this is something I want to do, and you were going to do your ransom or whatever, well, then that means that more than likely, if you didn't live in the area, you wouldn't know about KOLD. You wouldn't know KLD was that, like, a place, like a news
I think that's what
there?
they've said. That's why they think he's... I've heard that said before, like they think he's because he sent it to all the local news channels. You know, maybe he's from there.
And so, you know, that is another kind of indicator that it would be someone who would be knowledgeable of the area. Just like when we think about variables that would point to somebody who lived nearby, that's another one. Because what's interesting about that is that if you weren't from that area you wouldn't have to hop on Google somewhere and say like, okay, you know, where is the radio, where is the news stations that are in the Tucson area? You wouldn't need to go do that search because why? You already live there. You know what the news stations are, and that's a big advantage. You know, it certainly, you know, it means your homework it just does kind of point to a local.
Yeah, it does seem like it.
Doesn't it? You know, because how about, you know, the fact that they wasn't caught up on the camera? I mean, that is a big one. I mean, when you say to yourself, if you put a 20-mile circle all the way around her house, you say to yourself, how was it at that time of the night that it wasn't caught on camera? I mean, come on, the surveillance, I understand what they say, oh, we got all this surveillance, and that might be the pass-off response to make, you know, the crook think that we don't have a zero-in on your vehicle, but I just can't believe at that time of the night, you know, because let's just say, think about this, that wherever there's a camera, it's lit up at that intersection. So you're going to get a visual on that car, and you're going to get a great visual because it's going to be, you know, that nighttime shot with a glare of the camera, you know, and you can see it good, and so you get the good shot of it, and there's probably not going to be a lot of other vehicles close to it. So, you know, you would think that they would easily have went through all that footage pretty easily to conclude finally that this person never made it out of this 20-mile radius. They couldn't have.
It's kind of weird on that one street that the main road that crosses over to Annie's location, there's almost no cameras, even though it's just huge intersections. At least they're not the same kind of cameras, unless, you know, they're not the ones that, you know, the little pointed thing that I've been showing.
I'm watching you right now, and you're not seeing them, hey?
Yeah, I'm not seeing them all the way. The only ones I see on the road is way down near River Road at this intersection. I mean, you're probably a little bit behind there, but, you know, then that up here you can see the cameras. I'm looking at them. That's what they look like. Now, maybe they have a different model at some of the... I don't think so, though, because I remember the reporting was that they didn't have cameras in places that you would want them, and that's pretty brutal. Because look at this. This is why... See this blue pin over... I'm not sure if you're caught up.
I think I'm right in sync with you, actually.
Okay.
Are you zeroing right in? Like, are you low on the ground right now? Just to know I'm in sync with you?
I'm not
looking
moving
up at the light?
No, I'm
okay.
I'm somewhere else now.
Okay.
But I was gonna all right. So
go ahead and walk through.
You know, it's interesting because this blue pin here is kind of standing out as like, wow, that's sort of heading in the direction of no cameras. You know, there's one at the end of each street, north and south. But if you continue from here, let's say you know this area, you could head over here, and then, man, there's no cameras from here even all the way up to there.
That's interesting.
At least not the type that we were looking at. Now, if they have, some of those other things we're looking at are cameras. I don't think they are, but it's weird. So maybe that's why they were thinking that, because they think, you know, he should have driven by this camera. So we might be going. We need to head over here, and that's why they started looking over there. Maybe they have footage on some side streets over there near where Annie lives, where cars were moving around. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well, the other thing too that's kind of tricky to me about this is so that, you know, the more and more I watch you, the more I think, you know, as far as the routes that you're taking and the complexity of it, that this person would have to have a good working knowledge if they were going to avoid cameras. You'd have to have the good knowledge of that. And I don't think that is going to be obtained easily by an outsider. I think that's knowledge is going to be somebody's already going to know. And here's the kicker about it. So if you were an outsider and you thought to yourself, like, okay, I got to get all this mapped out, I got to know where everything is, let's just say presumably you're in a vehicle, so you're doing these scout runs to find out where all the cameras are. Well, when you cruise up and down certain places all the time, you know, and then like if you use that same vehicle, which that person would have been a fool to do if they did use the same vehicle that they did their initial scouting with cameras, you know, I mean, that would be a dead ringer, right? Because you'd say, like, look at this vehicle car, it goes by this intersection, it goes by here, and then all of a sudden So those pre-dry runs, not just to do Nancy's area, not dry runs just but dry runs just to case the intersections, those right there, you're already putting yourself on film in a vehicle. Now, the question is a person who's an outsider would know they would be doing that. They'd say, like, oh, I know I'm going to be...
Yeah, I think, well, here's what I would think. So if you're from there and you're driving through intersections 2 weeks before, the odds of being able to figure out who you are almost zero. And then when he was trying to do his scouting, I think when he did his scouting of Guthrie's home, it was at night, because you need to know how to get out of there when it's dark, not like, oh, in the daytime, oh, I got to turn right here, I go over here, yeah. That won't help you a bit when it's pitch black out and all you have is your headlights. So you gotta.
It's a great point.
And so the thing is at night, and he's in that neighborhood, we have the same problem that we have right now, where his vehicle isn't picked up on, it seems like any cameras at all right in the neighborhood there. So,
right.
That's crazy,
Well, it leads me more and more to believe, the more we talk about this, the more I see you working the routes, looking where the cameras are, that if you're going to get out of there in 20 miles and think that you're not going to be on camera, there's just no way. There's no way. I mean, I would like to see it done. And not only that, but let's just say hypothetically, if you said to me, well, I can do it, watch me, I got it mapped out, the amount of time it would take you to run the side streets and go here and go there for 20 miles without a single camera is going to lengthen the getaway time. So a person who's trying to, like, not linger and not be around areas, like, let's get the heck out of here. I mean, when you're going down side streets and going off in areas that are off the main drag where you're trying to get away, that's going to take time, And so, again, it points to somebody who didn't have far to go. And they weren't picked up on camera because they didn't have much of a distance to go.
Yeah, and that's probably what they're thinking. I've always thought that the person may live right around in the area, mainly because of the Bluetooth sniffer helicopter just flying right around in the neighborhood looking for her signal. Why the hell would you do that? It doesn't even make any sense.
The thing is,
go ahead.
And, like, psychologically, it would give somebody the ultimate comfortability, because they'd say, I already know what's going on. I already know the situation. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. I would have thought, they'd have done 1 to 2, 3 degrees separation out from the immediate family so that we could, cover any variables. But that would just be from their friends and acquaintances, and it wouldn't really cover people who might be word of mouth. Like, oh, I know that's, the siblings of so-and-so, or the, children of so-and-so, and so it does make you wonder if someone who lived nearby had some type of, like, I'm not necessarily saying nut job theory, but it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, right? Because if they live nearby, I mean, you could do the ransom, right? But if you live nearby, then you're going to have to think about, okay, well, if I try to get the money, then I've got to cash it in the United States because this is where I live locally, and if I don't want to go that route, then I'm going to have to get out of the United States, and that's going to be another challenge because maybe I don't know the, country that I'd be going to, so that doesn't kind of fly. So it makes sense more that if a person did that you really would try to throw someone off with some fake stuff, and like fake letters, like, hey, I'm going to make it look like this was a real thing, but in reality, it might have been somebody who didn't like them, the children, and lived in that near area. I'm just throwing theories out there, but maybe they thought they were privileged. Maybe they thought they had an attitude about themselves that someone fixated on it and caught an attitude and thought they were, already out of their mind anyway, but they wanted to go. And I'm just trying to come up with reasons of that. If somebody lived nearby, what would trigger them to do it?
Yeah, it's almost like maybe if they live by them, hell, maybe she's still alive somehow. I mean, that'd be pretty crazy. I don't think that's a very good possibility, but You know what's weird is
what a
it seems
miracle that
all
would
you
be.
have to know is where the main intersections are, because I've been plotting these out, and then you've got a camera here, and then look how there's one way down at this intersection, but there's none in between there. So like that's another out going this direction. There's no road cameras, and man, I don't know. It's just. And you already know it's almost impossible to get a good shot from a home of a vehicle because they're just so, you know, the way that they made them intentionally off the road and with like no visibility of the road almost. You know, you're just kind of in your own little secluded little place.
So do you think the person gets beyond 20 miles and isn't on camera?
Well, why do you
Like
keep
they
saying 20
evaded
miles?
that
Like, why 20 miles? You know, like why?
Just because it's a kind of roundabout distance where somebody 20 minutes of driving like isn't too far away to get away from something, whereas you crank it up to an hour's drive, and now you're on the road for a long time, and you're going to encounter more cameras. So I was just throwing 20 out there as, you know, like up, like 20-minute drive isn't too far. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Because standard, you know, I mean, not necessarily you're going to cover 20 miles in 20 minutes, you know, because I know that's 60 miles an hour, but you get what I'm saying, you know. A reasonable amount of driving, because here's the thing, is I'll guarantee you this much, if they took her, they were thinking in their mind, wherever we have to be with this vehicle, we have to be at this location by the time the sun comes up. Because once the sun comes up and people are all moving around and it's daylight out, and they can see our vehicle, and the probability goes up for, you know, an accidental pullover by cops. They're not going to want that. They're going to want that vehicle parked and everything done before the sun comes up.
I mean, it could be that he just kind of kept her in a home that's just right there in the area, and then I guess you would have had to wait. But man, it gets kind of dangerous now that she's, you know, there's cops driving around and so forth. You'd have to get her out on the next night almost, you know.
Yeah,
but it seems like you'd just do it the same night just to avoid that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's got to be close by. I mean, I really do. I think that it's everything points to it when you think about it. I mean, when you really start breaking it down, everything starts pointing to the fact that this person had local knowledge of the radio or the news stations. They apparently knew how to evade cameras. They apparently knew when to go there at the right time. And they knew how to apparently case her home without being too much of somebody that stood out, or, you know, because if you're somebody from out of the area and you're like, okay, we got to do this job, or I got to do this job, you're going to probably have to do a significant amount of casing even at that location to feel pretty comfortable, I would think, you know, to go off without a hitch, because you're going to have to know that there's no dog there, which means you're going to have to get close enough so that dog will smell you and start barking, and then you're like, okay, there's a dog there. And so they would have gotten close enough to know that, okay, she doesn't have a dog. You could have surveilled it from a distance just to see, like, okay, watch her and see if a dog comes out. And, oh, no dog comes out, okay, she doesn't own a dog. But again, that takes time to know those kind of things. And you can't be walking into a house late at night without knowing whether there's a dog or not, because now your whole work is in vain if there's dog starts yapping. I mean, it's over, you know. So that just tells me that it just points more to like somebody who knew the area, even maybe somebody that knew that she didn't have a dog. And I always did wonder about that, because it was kind of coincidental, because obviously you would think that, I'm just thinking about this, that if somebody was planning this, and let's just say they're planning it for a while, well then if you would have done your recon before, because you've been planning it for a while, you would have originally thought that there was a dog there. And so you would have said, like, oh, this isn't worth it, she's got a dog. So the only way that you would have known that it would then become viable is if you went back and checked. And then you'd be like, oh, there is no more, their dog isn't here no more.
I thought the dog was somebody else's dog. I thought it was like...
Well, to me, I'm not saying it's relevant to who the owner of the dog was, just that the dog was present.
Well, how would you know that it was...
You know what I mean?
Was it always there? Because I thought it was somebody else's dog. And she just
Well, it may have, but she may have been holding on to it for somebody, or it might have been kind of a shared kind of thing with the family.
But what if it's only like the pictures we see is like one day that she happened to? So he would never have seen the dog, the guy that went there, the scouter. Like, what day would he have seen the dog? It would have almost been luck that she happened to have the dog there that day, right?
Well, but you'd have to rule out this variable. You'd have to know that she didn't have the dog. So either you're showing up there just by luck when the dog's already long gone, right? You just happen to show up in the last month or two, that now the dog's been absent, and you get lucky, and you do the casing, and there's no dog. Great, wonderful. But that would mean then that you would only have showed up during that time period, because most people, like, I'm just putting this out there, but let's say if you were casing it 3 months prior and the dog was there and you went and cased it, and you're like, oh, that damn dog is barking, I can't do this now. Well, you're probably really not going to come back. And if you did come back, you got to be a local, because you're thinking, like, you got to be kind of like checking in on things, and like you'd think a dog would send somebody scurrying. They're like, I'm not going to go back there, Are you thinking that the dog wasn't there or wasn't on the premises? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I thought we were told that the dog wasn't her dog. So it's like the pictures we see with the dog, that might have just been a random photograph that whenever that person would visit, they might have a dog there. So if a person's scouting, they might not have ever seen the dog, and that would be accurate on their part. So I don't know if that was. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah. So if anyone in the chat is listening in, I'm sure you guys are. And you could send Gray some links that might prove where this dog was. Because that's kind of what we don't. It's not so much the ownership of the dog. I mean, it is nice to know who owned the dog. But my understanding is that Nancy never did own the dog, but the dog was there for a period of time. And so, that to me it is relevant, because someone who's casing would want to know the variable of the dog. They'd be like, okay, we got to know if this is, because a dog is a deal breaker in my opinion. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be, but it pretty much is. It's going to
bark and wake everybody up and cause problems.
Yeah. Right. So you'd have to be sensitive to that. And again,
some people say it was like her dog and then it died. And then in like December, and then some people say that wasn't even her dog. So I guess I don't really know. I've never really cared that much about it,
Yeah.
To me, it's just kind of like, okay, maybe. Either way, the person got in there, and we already know that they've been there probably multiple times to figure out how to get out of there, and we already kind of. I mean, the stuff that the dog might suggest, we've already got figured out. You know what I mean?
So very well. So the point is that they were there multiple times. And the fact is that to do so meant avoiding cameras if you were coming from afar. And so if you were close by, you could come multiple times and there'd never be a record of you, because you avoided the cameras every time that you came. But as soon as you're on camera, coming and going, you'd have to go through tons of footage, to really pick out.
Yeah, I just think if it's like during the daytime, when he's checking out the cameras, there's no chance they're going to be able to. They might be able to, after the fact, go back and see something, but just driving around, he's just like a regular car. It's not going to lead you anywhere. It's only at night, on those other dates that they mentioned, maybe, they can go back in time and find footage of, some similar vehicle driving in the same sort of area. I don't know. That sounds like they're in a bad place, really, with this surveillance. If they're talking about finding a car and working backwards, that's bad. That's really bad. I mean, I know that isn't how you can do that in a confined area, but this is a place where they go, oh, we're working back. We might find a car way over here. We're just going to work backwards. Well, if you had any footage in the area that you work back to, then you wouldn't go in that direction. You would go from, here's a vehicle driving around Nancy's home. Let's go forward and then find it on the next camera. Okay, now it's probably this light on this one, and work that direction. And if they somehow, paths meet with other. At that point, I guess maybe that's what they're saying. Like work backwards to the last known lights or whatever that we saw. Does it make sense? But then when you've already worked that direction, you see, like when you've already said, oh, okay, maybe it's this pickup truck. After you saw the light and then, it's a pickup truck when you're moving forward, it seems ridiculous to find a car at 3 a.m, driving around 1.5 miles away and then work backwards when you should have been able to get to that car going the other direction from the house out. Right? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
But
don't you agree there's going to be a limited amount of traffic? There's going to be a limited amount of people on the road at that time of the night anyway?
Yeah, but the thing is how are you going to get it back to the house if you don't already have footage? Or even an exiting road around the house if you don't have footage. And if you do have footage, wouldn't you go from that car forward to see, like, oh, wow, okay, it looks like it's turning right. Let's go to this next street. Okay, there it is. And then you keep following that. But instead, they're like, the way he said was, well, we can find the car and then we work backwards. See, that means you're in a really bad place because there might be these other cars moving around. And I guess if you can sort of get it back to where, it looks like this could be leaving the area, then you look into the guy and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Because honestly, so if you did go out and create a perimeter of where vehicles crossed a certain intersection, then you're like, okay, well, let's walk this back and see if we can find where it was before. And okay, we got it at this intersection now. And if you could kind of, even if you couldn't say like, well, it came from the Guthrie neighborhood, but it came out somewhere near that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But you could get several cars that met that same criteria, but then at least you got some cars
and
that
have
you
a name
can work
to look
with.
up and see, maybe check their, like, okay, well, like, for example, if you found cars driving around that late at night, and then you look who they are, and then somehow you're able to get a warrant of some kind, and you can see that their phone was turned off, well, now you're on to somebody, you know what I mean? Like, or you could do, like, you've already got your CAS data, right? So that's a wide net. And then you can find who owns that and then look on that and say, well, how come they don't have a phone? Their phone isn't in here. And that might make you a little bit more interested, because who wouldn't have their phone on them driving that late at night?
It sure would. It sure would. Yeah. And we've talked about that before, about the significance of that CAS data, especially going back, because, if you see a phone that's supposed to be on at a certain time of night, at a certain address or a certain location, and all of a sudden during the time of a suspected casing or the actual night thereof, and all of a sudden, well, that phone's not on that night. Well, isn't that kind of interesting? I'd want to dig in a little bit.
Yeah, and so that would be, the interesting element would be, and their way that they're doing it is you work backwards, and the CAS data, because it should include that entire area there, what they should do is see, get like the ownership and phone number of every single vehicle that they see spotted and can identify. I don't know if that's, at night with the license plates. I don't know, but if you can somehow do that, then you can see if the phone number is in the CAS data. And then if it's not, then I think those are the people you'd want to look at quick. Right?
They'd have to be very clever. Yeah. It would always mean that the casing would be done without a phone. So the phone would be left at home. So if you could leave your phone on at home, maybe, it's very interesting, because you have to have if you're this perpetrator and you live nearby, you're going to have to map out all these variables in your mind, and that dang CAS data is a humdinger, because you can really pick apart patterns. You can even say, and I think you and I have talked about this, well, why is it that we have this signal that turns on out here in the middle of nowhere at this tower, and it pings the tower at this time of the night, and it comes out of nowhere. It just, so we don't show a route of travel of where it came from and where it was going, but we know where it was going, but we don't know where it came from, and all of a sudden, ping, it hits the tower. And you think, oh, cell phone just turned on there. That's relevant as well.
Yeah, no, I think it's...
Wasn't that true with Coburg?
Which Koberger? Yeah, which part are you talking about?
Yeah, that he turned his phone on after he went away?
Yeah, he turned it on about 6 miles south of Moscow, Idaho. Only like 27 minutes after the murder,
So this guy, this guy who did this, if he's a local, I mean, he's getting lessons from other people, and he would have to have known about that case and what he did and how he messed up, and so you'd have to be savvy with how you managed your footprint. I mean, you really would. I mean, you have to be really like a hawk about it, because anything that was irregular would stand out to somebody, so it does really make you think about the degree of planning involved, particularly if you're a local, because you actually are going to have to be more discreet because you're living around the.
I don't think the guy was stupid. I just don't think he was stupid at all. Like they try to make him seem like
No. Yeah, that's it's a humdinger, but I think the work that you have done tonight, going over these, and to me, it just kind of points to the fact that if somebody is going to have mapped this out to feel secure enough to do it, they were an outsider, you're going to have to do a significant amount of mapping to feel comfortable enough that, okay, you'd have to at least do it 3 times. I would think at least 3. That's now a psycho nut job. Might only have to do it 1 time before, but I do think this is somebody. Like we've always gone back to the fact when they say that, when a crime like this is done, that it's often committed by somebody connected to the family or someone in the family. And I do not think it was someone within the family. Like, I don't think it was a blood relative at all. And I don't even think it was what I would call a friend of the family. But I do think that it potentially could be somebody who knew of the family, knew of either Nancy separately to whatever degree, which I find kind of unlikely because they would more key in on that since it's right at that area, if that person lived around that area, but more distant, like it could be possible that somebody knows one of the children and, who knows what happens after that. All you have to do is have the connection for some psychopath to start fixating on some weird ideation of, like, oh, they're better than me, I'm going to teach them a lesson and, whatever, I don't know. But I'm just throwing out scenarios where this person could, potentially convince themselves that they have this legitimate beef with somebody,
what's weird is when you play the, I get what you're saying. It's like, who knows what the beef is. I guess we'll find that out when they arrest somebody. But when you look at where all the cameras are, there's so many of them, really. But there's these little windows. I don't know if you can see that. It's hard. I should have made it a different color, but these yellow pins to go around.
I'm watching.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, I'm watching.
I wish I could. I don't know if I can. Oops. Not sure what I just did.
You think about this, there really is kind of like a little like tale here. Like when we think about like what is our takeaway from looking at all this stuff, there are some takeaways, that a person can, when you do this like intensive type of route mapping, you begin reaching certain conclusions and takeaways, and I really do think that this person had a very good grasp of intersections.
Yeah. When you're driving through them, you're probably always looking at see if there is one. Yeah, just in general. If you're a shitty, like a nefarious person in general, you're probably always aware of where cameras are. Even if you're not, sometimes,
Yeah.
like what we do, I'm always looking at surveillance cameras myself, just because, that's just like what I don't know. I mean, just from doing this, I look, and, oh, there's one, But.
Yeah, I lived in a state for a long time that would use surveillance cameras at intersections to catch people who ran lights or to catch people who had traffic violations. And I happened to be the recipient of one of those at one time. And I didn't like that. I like, oh, you dogs, you caught me when it was just turning, and I was like, and I was like, it was one of those hair things, that I probably could have, like, not really, whatever. But anyway, it did make me key into intersection cameras after that. And so if you would have said to me, like, a year afterwards, hey, when you're on your way to work every day and your 7-mile trip to work, do you know where all those intersection cameras are? And I'd be like, yeah, I know where they are.
Oh, yeah.
So that would mean that as someone who was local, again, my point is that if you traveled roads frequently, you would know where the cameras are already. You don't really need to do a lot of casing because you know where the cameras are, So it's just fascinating.
Yeah. Well,
I was listening to Tim talk. Yeah, I was listening to Tim talk earlier, and he was like, "Oh, this case, oh my gosh, are they gonna figure this out?" And like I'm in the same boat, and I really think, I cannot believe that they will not figure this out. You would think like they got to be able to figure this out at some point. Something's got to give with $1 million on the line.
Yeah, a lot of times that doesn't work. The ransom. I mean, not the ransom, the reward.
Reward.
Yeah. Doesn't seem to really affect anybody.
Well, anyway, maybe you want to fit in another call, and then I sapped up all the time for everybody.
Well, I might be ending the show pretty soon because it's already 3 hours and 48 minutes.
But shout out to all the freaks, and if you guys tolerated me tonight going on with Gray, I thank you for it. And but it was a good conversation, Gray. And
that's always interesting.
I always appreciate calling in and stuff because you make me think about the case as well. But great job tonight. Great coverage and great job, freaks.
All right.
And,
oh, thanks. You did it for me.
I'll call in again. Yep. Take care, Gray.
All right, you too. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Jason Bourne. The Jason Bourne. You know what I'm saying? Anyways. We've talked about the life insurance. I mean, you have to have a body to get life insurance. So maybe, if it is a hired hit, we've talked about that the other night. If it's a hired hit for, let's see, I guess you call it for, what the hell's the term? I forgot. A hired hit for inheritance, then you'd have to do it in a way where her body's found relatively soon. But isn't that wild? Look at where the cameras are. There's cameras around this whole area. See that? Like right there. One, ding, 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 ding. And this is where her house is. I mean, you would think that one of these cameras, I have it go all the way down into here because it seems to, that actually continues on like that. So it goes around. So you would think that one of these cameras should have picked something up. However, if he kind of just, like, for example, this one right here, this blue pin that I kept up because it looks interesting, is exactly where you'd want to go to get out of here and avoid any cameras and head in this direction. Isn't that interesting? I don't know what you're talking about. You do, though, Karen. You do need a body. You do need a body. Unless you want to wait 5 or 6 years. I already know that. Yeah. Who wants to wait 5 or 6 years if you're doing a hired hit for inheritance? You know, in 6 years she probably wouldn't have been alive. You know, it takes a long time to have somebody declared dead and prove, you know, for especially the insurance companies. Anyways, I know what I'm talking about. Let's see. We've got... You always try to figure out a way to say no. What I told you was the truth. Yes, you have to have them declared dead by the courts. I already know that part. But aren't you assuming that they would want the inheritance within a reasonable amount of time? Do you think you'd want to wait 5 years or so? It takes a long time to have somebody declared dead. A long time. A couple of years minimum, I would think. I mean, you want this coming up. You know? Or you just would have waited. Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of... I thought that was just sort of self-explanatory. Let's see. Well, looks like it's dead as a doornail in here, so I'm going to get the hell out of here. Alright, so we've got... Right. Then you could sell... Right, exactly. I know that. You could sell the property, get any of her stocks, etc., etc., etc. It takes a long time, you know. You have to prove that she's not alive somewhere. Or not prove, but, you know, there's probably a certain amount of time you got to wait. You got to send out notifications and weird shit, and after a while, a judge might declare she's not alive. Insurance companies probably fight against that. You know, if there's any kind of life insurance or anything. Anyways, thanks to Wild Bill Wassman, the legendary bass fisherman. Then Jim Lawn, then we had Allie Cake, Chris Stew, then Wild Bill Wassman again, then Chicken Wing, then Wild Bill Wassman, Chicken Wing, gifted one, then Michelle H. gifted one, then Kim from Rochester gifted one, then Allie Cake, then Wild Bill Wassman again, then Chicken Wing again, and then Karen 777. Where did you come up with that number, by the way? Is that just lucky 777? Allie Cake, and then South Texas Guy gifted one. Wild Bill Wassman gifted one. Daphne, after she sent 3 cents in prior to that. Hey, no problem. Karen 7. Where'd you get the numbers? Daphne, and then Chris Sparks, then Wild Bill Wassman, Jim Lawn, Allie Cake, Karen 7.77 again. Then Chris O'Connell came in, gifted 25 memberships. Then Cheryl Bullock, Wild Bill Wassman, Jessica Schubach, then Chris O'Connell, and then Chris O'Connell gifted 10 more, so 35 memberships. That's so kind. And then, yeah, so it's like we wouldn't even have made the goal without that. That's crazy. Then Steve's Lore. And then Wild Bill Wassman again, then Jim Lawn, Michelle H., then I gifted the 5. Is your lucky number? Lucky number 7. All right. Let's see what we would have made. 35, 23. Yeah, we would have made it to about 65% or something. Anyway, so thanks everybody else. Also, without you guys, we wouldn't have made it either. So thank you guys for supporting the channel. Hey, we made a goal tonight, man. It's a miracle. Yeah. By the way, did you guys find it an interesting show tonight? I think that this is. I mean, it shows you that there's a ton of cameras that are on the main road, that secondary outer perimeter. And then there's even some there's not a lot on this inner area here where I said that they might have left. There's none. No street cameras. But on this outer perimeter, there is a bunch. There's like literally, I mean, there's even one that's sort of inside right there. And there's one there, and there's one here. And they're just all over the place. And it's interesting. It actually makes you think a little bit differently. You know, this person might have really charted out a different path out of there. So anyways, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And who the hell knows what tomorrow will bring. Thank you all very much for watching. And as I always say, I feel like I always have more to say. But anyways, as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Thank you also, Karen, for your 777s. And also, don't let me forget, we also had Lisa Valenzuela on a coffee. And then we also had Sandy Shirley on a PayPal. And then we also had Lore. Or I guess Lori on a, well, I don't know if that's actually the name though. It's like, they sent a PayPal in too, very kind. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Tonight's show was a little bit smoother, but yes, I still have to work on what just how I'm, I get frustrated pretty easily. I gotta be able to fix that. All right. I don't know. I did better tonight, but I got work to do. All right. So thanks everybody for hanging out, watching the show. We'll see you tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Thank you for watching Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube, where we cover true crime using logic, reason, and a pesky thing called common sense. Thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Evil can never be dead enough. And some of you, you make shit up.